Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and right now I'm sitting by myself. This is Wealth Wednesdays. I believe Walter will join us. I spoke to him not too long ago. Not sure if Donovan will join us, but I am here for now. So I'd also like to say the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community. To help us be an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like to say a big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube, X, and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you just viewers, but you are family, and we share the link from time to time to give you an opportunity to ask a question in real time or express your opinion. All I ask is that if I've not seen you on here before, that you show me your face. If you have it blanked out with a picture before I bring you up, to verify that it's you and not somebody else trying to stir up some trouble. uh, what else do I want to say? Oh, the topic, right? Why are we here today? So, a couple of weeks ago, I read an article. It was maybe like last week, stating that half of Americans, that's why I say half of us, uh, can no longer afford to pay rent. Of course, I'll get a little bit more into that in just a few minutes, but I'm going to jump into the comment section and acknowledge those who are on here. Hopefully by then Walter will show up. If not, y'all got me for the next 2 hours at the most, right? So anyway, let's see who's on here. I have a Lavender Lily. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us. She said, yes, this is so true. Evictions left and right. Yep. Abdul, how you doing? He says, I'm paraphrasing what Bob Marley said. You will never get justice in a system that's run by criminals. Very true. He also said, I had enough of these so-called educated people in America. Does a great difference between educated and being intelligent. A very, 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 very great difference. That's what you said. And a different view. How you doing? Says very informative information always. Thank you. Well, no, thank you. And Abdul says, I've had enough of these educated, like Curtis Mayfield, educated fools from uneducated school pimping people. Is the rule polluted water in the food, etc.? All right. Calvin, how you doing? He says, good afternoon, sister. It's crazy. Everywhere it's expensive to rent and minimum wage is not high enough. And developers will not build enough affordable housing. But what is really affordable housing? I should have just read your comment because you pretty much nailed it all. Hit everything on the head. And Kara, how you doing? You said, I missed last night, but I'm here bright and early. Yes, indeed. You are right on time. Odd Negroes, how you doing? Milo Factor, what's going on with you? I don't know if Donovan will join us today, but I'm here. This is the show where Walter is supposed to be, but he'll show up eventually, I'm sure. Pop, how are you doing? Third Coast McQueen, what's going on with you? Miss B Glam Decor, how are you? And thank you for reminding people to hit the like button. Hey, Thunder, how are you? Yeah, Pop, the rent is too damn high. Remember the guy in New York? He's a black guy. He had the white beard and mutton chops, and he had the gloves. And when he was running for mayor of New York, I think it was mayor or governor, one of them, where he was representing the rent is too damn high party. He didn't win, but he should have, right? Courtney, how are you doing? And Lynette, what's going on with you? Says Montgomery, Alabama. Jesse, how are you doing? And then our Negro says all rent should be 30% of our income, a little bit less than that. Across the board, and rent should be frozen for retirees since they have a fixed income. Yes, indeed. DSB, how you doing? Thunder says the name of that song is If There's a Hell Below, We're All Gonna Go. Yes, indeed. You remember him popping incredible, brother. How you doing? DSB, you say rent, food, gas, and everything else is too high. Yes, indeed. Brother Samuel, how are you today? All right. So I'm going to get into it from what I know. So as I said, I was reading this article about a week ago, and I not surprised by it, but it was kind of telling. So this study actually came from Harvard, and they actually did it during 2022 through 2023. And they basically found that half of American renters can no longer afford to do that. Now, of course, there's several reasons. Of course, y'all know we came out of a pandemic, COVID-19, so that did not help. Also, the renter, or I should say landlords, have raised the rent. As we know, in a lot of places, there do not have rent control. So sometimes landlords raise the rent. And in fact, it says that rent during 2020 went up to the tune of about 21%. but income only went up 2%. So obviously, right, income is not keeping up with the rising rents. Although they said that rent seems like it has, I guess, leveled out to where it's not going up anymore. However, the income is still an issue. Also, says obviously inflation is part of that, where everything is high, like you guys said, food, gas, and all that other stuff. And in fact, they say a lot of times, because a lot of people cannot afford to pay their rent, they have compromised on buying certain things like food and other necessities because you need a roof over your head, right? So as somebody said that people should not be paying more than 30% of your income, but it's actually 25% of your income. You shouldn't be paying any more than that. Unfortunately, most Americans, I would imagine, are paying, from what they're saying, between 30 and 50% of their income. So, you know, that's quite a bit. Now, it's saying that obviously it's affecting people who are low income, but it's also affecting people who have great jobs because depending on where you live, right, your rent can be high. And it says on average in America, rent for an apartment is around $1,400. So they said rarely are there apartments or anywhere to rent for less than $1,000 nowadays. But there's many people who cannot afford to pay $1,400 for an apartment, and we're not talking about a big one, maybe like 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. They said in Los Angeles, the average amount for an apartment is like $2,700. They said it's come down a little bit, but $2,700 for a regular old schmegular old apartment is a lot of money. Um, and so also they're saying that a lot of what is it, Gen Z, they are living at home. About 31% of them, of course, there's some in Gen Xers that are living at home or whatever the case is because they simply cannot afford to pay rent. Now they also say that it's a decades old issue, so it's not just because of, let's say, the Biden administration has kind of been in the works. So they said it's not the Biden administration's fault, but they didn't do a whole lot to try to solve the rental issue. I remember when Kamala was running for office, she was saying that that was going to be one of her major platforms, was to figure out how to get renters some sort of relief because people at that time were still paying about 50% of their income for rent. Doesn't sound like that's going to happen no time soon. And then it says, unfortunately, 46% of Americans do not believe they will ever be able to buy a home uh, for obvious reasons, right? You need sometimes a large down payment. The average cost of a house, from what I looked last week, I think is about $340,000 on average. So that just really depends on where you live. But of course, somewhere like California, I think the average is maybe 600,000, maybe more for the price of a home. So a lot of people just simply cannot afford that. So they said while prices are not going up, again, people still aren't seeing the relief from that because it's like if you live in a house or an apartment, let's say you rent an apartment and you're paying, I don't know, $2,000 a month. What's the chances of them saying, okay, well, inflation is down, so now I'm a lower your rent to where it should be? Landlords aren't going to do that. And so they also said the problem with not being able to afford rent, there just is not enough affordable housing options, right? They said a lot of builders are actually building more on the high end side of things, like high end homes, high end high rises. I know here in Houston, you see a lot of these big, glamorous high rise apartments that go, really high. And those aren't cheap at all. And so I guess they're trying to figure out how to implement more affordable housing for people who don't have great jobs or whatever the case is. And somebody else said too, as far as minimum wage, especially in some places of the country, like here in Texas, still $7.25 an hour from the last time I checked. And so I don't know of anybody who can survive on $7.25 an hour to pay for anything. You would need a few jobs, I would imagine, to cover your bills. So I guess today we can try to figure out what can be done to help anybody, I guess, try to afford to live places. Now, I have a couple of suggestions, but I want to see what you guys have to say. And I'll even open up the link in just a minute, but I want to get through to the comment section and see who all came on here while I was running my mouth. Let's see. Yes, Negroes. He said rent too high. Guy Jimmy McMillan. He's a fascinating guy. Is he still with us? Because I know that was some time ago when he was running for the rent is too damn high party. I'm like, why they didn't want to vote for him? I think it was New York, right? Why New Yorkers should have lined up to vote for him because it was very prophetic. And let's see here, who else came on? Courtney, did I say hello to you? Says rent is in California is way too high. Oh yes, I'm from Southern California, and it is extremely high. Because I was looking at houses not too long ago. I was like, well, if I was to move back, what would I be paying for rent? Until I was able to buy something. I don't even know if at this point I want to buy something. But if I was, I saw places in California for $7,200 for a house. $7,200 a month. And this wasn't no like Taj Mahal or nothing. It was just like a house. I was like, are they for real? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna stay right where I'm at for a minute. Miss B says the math is not math, and yes, indeed. And Thunder, he says it's time for roommates. You took one of my solutions. Roommates, mama's house, marriage, or big mama's house. You're absolutely right. That's what a lot of other people do. They group up, right? They get together and say, well, I can't really afford to live on my own. Sounds like you're struggling too. Why don't we, get together and share the load until we can save money, or until things turn around. But a lot of people, and I say this too, especially in our community, too busy. Like, I can't live with nobody else. I got to live by myself. But it's like you live in a quiet life of desperation because you struggling. You struggling when it don't have to be that hard. Ardiva, how are you doing today? And Negro, it says 1,900 in New York and a size of a shoe. Yeah, I actually heard that in New York is actually higher than that. It says the average, the rents range from $3,200 to $6,000 just, to rent something. And they said, I guess on average is about $4,000 to rent something in New York, which is absolutely crazy. And DSB says, I'm right at $1,000 for rent. And that's pretty good. And where do you live, if you don't mind me asking? Hey, Larry, how you doing? Well, thank you. Hello, Miss White. How are you doing this evening? And DSB says utility bills are a bit over $1,000 and something. Really? What kind of utility bills you got going on? That's a lot. All right, let's skip down. Big Rich, how are you doing? And don't tell me. I'm sorry. Don't need no man. Stop telling me I do. That's the name. How you doing? No reparations, no vote. How are you today? And DSB says rent seems like it goes up on a monthly basis. I don't know about a monthly basis, but definitely when it's time to renew the lease or whatever the case is, the landlord is like, I'm gonna have to raise the rent because the sky is blue. And it's like, what are you gonna do? Say no? You can, but then they'll probably say, yeah, we'll find somebody else. And fortunately for them, unfortunately for you, they'll find somebody else and have them pay even more. Because remember, there's not a lot of rental space available, so you're kind of forced into to paying the higher rent. Brother Reggie, how you doing? And Pamela, how are you doing this fine evening? DSB says minimum wage still at $5 and something cents here in Greenville, Mississippi. For real? Wow, $5? What can you do with $5? I don't even know if you can go to Subway and get the $5 6-inch sandwich. It's probably like $5.25 now, but $5, that is extremely evil. Negroes says, yeah, he's still around. Okay, good. Jamarcus, what's going on with you? Hi, Cube. How are you doing? He says the reason for inflation is simple. It's because the Biden Democratic government printed unimaginable money. I guess there's a lot of reasons for that. Although they said inflation is coming down a little bit, but most people are like, yeah, where? Because I'll tell you, as a matter of fact, I'm reading the news today, and it says that Houston is the second highest in okay, so what I'm saying is Houstonians pay the second most amount for groceries, next to that of Miami. So Miami, on average, they pay like $315. I guess it's a month, and then Houstonians pay $300 a month for groceries. So it's the highest amount in the nation, which I found to be kind of weird because, when I go back home to California from time to time and I go to the store, I'm like, wow, it's a lot cheaper here, which you would think is higher in California, but no, Houston is a lot more expensive for groceries. So, uh, but yeah, a lot of people aren't feeling that in that inflation drop at the store. Still, how are you doing? It says, I'm going to leave the country and then sneak back in as an immigrant. Right? And the mirror likes me. How you doing? It says, living in Canada, we would love to trade house prices with Americans. So what are y'all paying on average for rent? Our Negroes, it says, family don't want to live together. Everyone is stubborn. Yeah, I need my own house. I need my own space. I can't just live with anybody. But then you pacing back and forth in the doggone house trying to figure out how you going to pay rent. It doesn't make sense. And Miss B says, yes, two incomes are better than one. Absolutely. And the mirror likes me. It says $7 an hour, and some states 5. Yeah, that I did not know that $5 an hour for minimum wage was still a thing. That is crazy. And Odd Negro says that's Manhattan and Queens prices. Okay, so for the 3,000 to 6,000, those prices. Okay. And DSB says, I live in Greensville, Mississippi. My warrior sister. Okay, got you. So yeah, I know in Mississippi, I think is probably one of the last places in the country that's considered to be affordable. But if you're looking at $5 an hour for minimum wage, is it really affordable? What is that, $5? So $40. You work an 8-hour shift, $40 a day. That I don't know how anybody would survive off of that. I mean, if I go outside and go to the sidewalk, I done spent $100 and I'm like, I don't even know where it went. So I can't imagine, being able to survive on $40 a day. And it's, like I said, it's evil to even expect anybody to do that. Jesse says a lot of these landlords are cracking down on how many people you can have live with you in an apartment. Yeah, typically they like to have people on a lease, but you would think too, it'd be easier as a landlord to get your rent. Now I get it. The more people you have in there, then the more wear and tear would probably be on the apartment. But if those people, have, I guess, because you have to have good credit, right, to live there and have income, then they would, I would imagine, be able to get their rent. So I can understand it though. Ms. B says, if we could really get along with our family members or have a friend, you could really trust them. Yes. Yeah, but I would say too, a lot of other communities, they do it. They live together. As I tell y'all, there's this video on YouTube called Hidden Secrets to Oriental Wealth. Hidden Secrets to Oriental Wealth. And he talks about it. He's an Asian guy. He says, we figure it out. We don't always like our people either. We don't always get along, but we say, hey, and I'm paraphrasing, shut the F up, okay? We trying to get somewhere here. We're trying to buy some more houses and do other things so that we don't have to be in this situation. And that's what they do. They all get these jobs, come back and pull the money together, and they say, okay, great. Now we can buy another house. So they wash, rinse, repeat. And they say scratch not being able to get along. That's really the least of their issues. That their main issue is to figure out how to survive without needing, help from outside entities. So you're right. Mallow Factory says a roommate at this age, no. I mean, I'm just saying, if you can afford to stay by yourself, then yeah, you probably don't need a roommate. But there's a lot of people who could benefit from a roommate situation. I don't know. I mean, like if you live by yourself and you have 2-3 bedrooms or whatever, and you got one empty, I mean, I don't see why not. Especially if you know the person or whatever the case is. I don't see why not. It's extra money, less burden on you, but it's to each his own, really. DSB says utility bills usually are cheaper during the summertime. Really? You would think they would be higher due to the heat. That I know it's that way for me anyway. I have to run the air. I mean, especially if you live in Houston, there's just no way you're gonna be around here with no air conditioning on. And Pamela says rent is outrageous everywhere, and it's pure greed. A lot of it is, but then they're saying too that sometimes with landlords they have to do upgrades on the house. And in fact, I was reading that they said a lot of houses that are 40 years and older, obviously by now, right, they need a lot of work, whether it's a new roof, which you're supposed to get a new roof every 20 years, give or take. So whether it's a new roof, the foundation, the plumbing, all of that. And they said people who live in those homes or own those homes, a lot of times they can't afford the upkeep. They can't afford to maintain a house. So that's another issue as well for landlords. So when they do have to do those renovations, and yeah, they're gonna pass them the money on to the renter, unfortunately, which is also why a lot of times when people rent and something goes wrong with the house or the apartment, they're afraid to report it because they're like, if I call the landlord and tell them that I need a new stove or the air conditioning is out, then they're gonna get a new one and then they're gonna pass that on to me somehow by raising the rent. So a lot of times people just suffer, and it's not right. If you're a landlord or whatever, you should have some sort of a warranty or some savings, right, an escrow account so you could cover those things. Don't make your tenant uh, live in a house in fear because they don't want their rents raised. Alonzo, how are you? Alonzo, how you doing? It says, Cali is crazy. My twin 38-year-old sons live there. Bought a house, however, HOA makes their purchase futile. 450,000 for a house, 15,000 yearly for HOA. I cannot stand HOAs. I said when I do buy a house, if I do not want an HOA. I mean, I get it; they're useful for some things, but really, they just get on your doggone nerves, and I just wouldn't want to do that. And $15,000 so people can boss you around, say, no, you can't do this to your house. Pick up your trash cans. I don't think so. I think they should abolish HOAs, to be honest. And if you read the history of a lot of HOAs, they are mainly their foundation is racism. So if you check that out. Lynn, how you doing? Long time no see. Says these rents, home prices made me rethink my patience with my man. Laugh out loud. I bet it would. Like, baby, you ain't so bad after all. I ain't gonna trip that you don't pick your socks up. Also, Carrie, you say it's $6 now. Is that a minimum wage? It's still not enough, right? They said that minimum wage should be anywhere between $25, $32 an hour to keep up with the cost of living. So they still got a long way to go. Brother Don, how are you? Says average rent one bedroom, $3,500 in San Francisco. I totally believe it. When my daughter was going to school there, I think it was 2018, she rented a room, $1,100. $1,100 for a room. So I totally believe that. Negroes, it says Bronx is way cheaper, but more crime ridden. Staten Island is cheaper as well. Okay, but probably not affordable, right? And Calvin, how you doing? Says it's hard to say because it depends on where you want to live. If it's a major city like New York, Miami, Los Angeles, people want to experience what big life. Yeah, especially in the metropolitan cities like that. Yeah, you're gonna pay to be next to the action or whatever. I live in Houston. It's not technically like Houston, where all the happenings are. I guess it's considered maybe on the outskirts, but it's still pretty high. I would say for Houston, you know. Jamarcus says eat fruits and vegetables. Yeah, and even those jokers are going up. And Lene, how you doing? Says a few years ago, I heard that Shaquille O'Neal was investing in luxury condos. I think I heard that too. I'm not sure if it came to pass. I'm sure he did because he owns a lot of stuff, right? Marcella, how you doing? Says I think the most high for our landlord. We pay $1,200 a month for a 3-bedroom, nice backyard and nice front yard. He told us that the houses around us, $1 million. We've been here for 13 years. Yeah, you got you a great landlord, and you know what? There are some landlords who understand that. They're like, I don't need to do that to my tenants because as a landlord, especially if you don't need to raise the rent, what you understand is you have a loyal renters, right? If they're doing right, they're paying the rent on time. You need a tenant and they need a place to stay. So why make it hard for people to stay there? Because they have to keep turning over and getting new renters. That's expensive to the landlord. You got to freshen up the place again. You got to put it back on the market and hope people qualify and all that. So if you have a good renter, yeah, don't try to kill them on the rent. I just think that's great. So I'm glad that, that's going on for you. So you live in Sacramento. Yeah, it's expensive to live there too. Mr. X, how you doing? It says $5. Where they do that at? Right. I didn't even know that $5 an hour was still a thing for minimum wage. Negroes say they increase the rent and expect you to work 3 jobs. Yeah. And then if you're trying to rent something now, they want you to have like 3 to 5, 6 times the rent, or you to be able to make that monthly. And it's like, yeah, let me go see if my mama's extra bedroom is available. And DSB says you basically have to work multiple jobs here in Mississippi. I can imagine. I mean, even if you work 2 jobs, 8 hours a piece. That's what, $80 a day. That's still not enough, in a lot of places to keep up with the cost of living. So, and no reparations, no vote. He says it's federal law. 2 heartbeats per room is the standard. Oh, okay. The Mirror likes me. It says in Toronto, bachelor apartments 1,200 plus, 1 bedroom 1,800, 2 bedrooms 2,500. Wow, that is crazy. Pamela says, Sister Demetra, I had sent you an email last year on a couple of solutions for our people. And Pamela, uh, fortunately and unfortunately, I get a lot of emails and stuff. So it's probably I missed it. So I'd have to, go back and look at it or what have you. But yeah, so that's just kind of what, as my situation. Unfortunately, I just got a lot of emails and stuff. Simba, how you doing? He says back to Africa, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Yeah, right now it's affordable to live there, but in some places in Africa, from what I understand, it's starting to go up as well. So you better hurry up. Yes, Hidden Secrets to Oriental Wealth, Pamela. That is what's on YouTube. You can listen to it. I actually somebody sent me the ebook, and so I've read it a few times, and I've listened to it on YouTube a few times, and I've sent it out to a bunch of people. There's really a lot of good solutions in there, and he's actually talking to us. So Poppy says that's like the Arab Tanda system. Okay. Marcella says our landlord was happy that doing that during the COVID-19 lockdown, we kept on paying the rent. Yeah, and it's amazing how many people just didn't pay for whatever reason. They couldn't. Some people didn't want to or whatever, because there was a lot of moratoriums on evictions, but it's like you didn't think that was going to come back around. Craig, how are you? Poppy says, Demetra, how can I earn a wrench? I am an A1 troll popper. Okay, I have to remember to get you one. Let's see. I'm gonna write this down. Pop wrench. I was gonna say to my moderators, you guys are all doing a great job. Just make sure that the person that's doing the absolute most before you block them or put them in timeout, because we don't want to make a habit of blocking people who may just be annoying to some degree. And I think you guys know what to look for. Like if they're doing the most, then yeah, block them. But if they're just kind of getting on people's nerves, it's charge it to the game. And Miss Price, how you doing? Says property taxes. Some renters never understand. Yeah, there's property taxes involved with landlords and the property as well. So somebody's got to pay for it. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be the renter. Mr. X says, just identify as an illegal alien and you get free housing, right? And Jesse says, I've had bad situations with roommates in the past. I messed my credit up by living in those situations. Took over 10 years to get my credit rating up past 600 again. I'm sorry that happened to you. Yeah, unfortunately, everybody is not on the level and ain't going to do right. Tracy, how are you today? Negroes, it says rather own than rent. They need to make it easier to own. And that's the other thing too. It's not as easy as it used to be. And a lot of times they want, what is it? Like 20% or something like that for a down payment. And, most people just don't have that lying around. So unless they have to get special programs and stuff, but also to own a house, you have to maintain it. That's why a lot of people rent. I find it right now, I've owned houses before, but I find it right now it's easier to rent. When you think about the long run, I don't have to pay for no maintenance stuff and all that other stuff. But when you do own a house, you got to keep it up. Warranties and insurance and all that to make sure that you're able to maintain the house, because one thing after another, the air conditioning, the roof, the foundation or whatever, the pipes, that's expensive. So a lot of people don't take that into account when they buy a house. You have to keep it up. And let's see here. Kelvin, you say people still want to be in the city for what they offer, but once big tech companies arrive, rents went up fast. Yeah, especially in the Bay Area, California, Northern California. That over there especially is the tech industry, and a lot of the arts district and the artsy elements of that area, they're not able to afford to stay there because big tech moved in, and those people need places to stay, and they can afford those astronomical mortgages and rents. So unfortunately, the art element of the Bay Area is starting to fade out, and it's sad. The Mirror likes me. It says, in my area in Toronto, Asians have 10 people sharing 2 bedrooms. In a few years, most end up wealthy because that's how they do it. It's called group economics, and they are masters at doing that. High Cube says, wages must also increase sharply to survive high inflation with trash Democrats and Biden bringing in illegal immigrants, rising prices, and preventing wage increases. Yeah, that's definitely an issue. And High Cube says it is the Black community that suffered the most from it. Yep, absolutely. Mallow Factor, if I didn't already, how you doing? He says, my brother fled California, and you said he came to live with you. You said you didn't invite him. He just showed up. Odd Negroes, you said homelessness is out of control. Yeah, and y'all know that the Black people make up the largest homeless population in America. Uh, we make up the largest of everything that's not so good, unfortunately. But yeah, we need to do something about that. We and the government, they owe us a debt, and as far as reparations, and that's one way to help us with that. Carrie say racist HOA need to go. Oh yeah, they be acting up. Miss B said it's sad to say that we will never get ahead. We don't look after each other. The other race and races look after each other and help each other. Yep, they surely do. Emelanated Origins, how you doing? You say, what's up, mama? Looking all good. Well, thank you, thank you. Alonzo, he says, seems to me that we all lived together in family prior to this integration. Seems like we forgot everything that brought us out of segregation. Independence became the theme. Yep, that's what we used to do. I mean, I remember my mama talk about, because my mom was the only child, but she knew her cousins as her siblings because they all lived together, right? That's what they used to do. But nowadays, you can't come live with me. And Patricia, how you doing? Says, yeah, so who cares about Biden being president? Yeah, well, unfortunately, a lot of people do care, but he's kind of dropped, well, not kind of, but he has dropped the ball on Black people, which is no surprise, even though he got up there and said, y'all stood by me, I'm going to stand by you. It's like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And Jesse said, yeah, San Francisco renter prices are ridiculous. Yeah. And the Black population in San Francisco is getting less and less and less. Well, that's true for California anyway. I think the Black population in California is less than 6% now. So, and shrinking because people really just can't afford to live there. In fact, it says most Black people in the nation now live in the South. Go figure, right? Because that's where we were during slavery. And of course, after slavery ended, we migrated to other places in the country, but now we're going back to the South because it's just more affordable for us. Jay Bubba, you say this is all on Jim Crow Joe. He cut the oil drilling off here and just left everything, let everything fall apart. Well, in all fairness, they said this renters crisis is kind of like decades in the making. So it's not all on him. However, they did say that his administration is not doing a whole lot to alleviate what's going on either. So Ms. B says, we would be able to buy homes if we were to stay with each other and pay off our cars. Yeah, it's another thing. Pay your car off and don't go get another one. If your car is running good, don't go get another car note, especially now because the car notes are expensive. You have a car, because I know a lot of times people are like, oh, I like that car, I'm gonna go get me a new one. But I personally like not having no car note. I'm all right with not having a brand new car. I can have a brand new car, but I'm just not in love with the car payment. So I'm gonna roll mine till the wheels fall off. But yeah, that's another way to save money. Alonzo says, Demetra, you epitomize a Black woman. Oh, okay. He says, it looks sharp and we are and well read. So glad to join your platform. Well, I'm glad that you're here. And thank you so much for that compliment. And the mayor likes me, says, some Asians in my neighborhood in Toronto have 10 people sharing 2 bedrooms. They know how to do it. They're like, so what? We don't get along, So what? So what? You snore. I'm going to deal with it because in a little while, we're going to be stacking money and we'll be able to buy all of these houses, So they just put up with each other. Beverly says, Joe Biden is going to have us all living like the Waltons. But you know what? When we were living like the Waltons, it seems like we were better people, right? We were closer together. We loved each other and that kind of stuff. Nowadays, not so much. Nowadays, most people don't even sit at the kitchen table anymore. Don't even sit at the kitchen table as a family. Nowadays, people in their own room or part of the house and they eat their dinner. But I remember coming up as a kid, we would eat at the dinner table. The whole family, we'd laugh and joke and talk about our day. And, it was a good time. And I think, too, that's how we all learn how to communicate. But nowadays, people don't even really talk to their family. So it's really a shame. But the Waltons, yeah, I believe they probably living like that had a better time in life. Marcella, you say a few months ago, my neighbors text me to say that they appreciate us being very good neighbors, and that's important to be good neighbors, right? Look out for each other, and not to be the causing a ruckus in the neighborhood. Sister Shirley, how you doing? It says evening, Demetra. Hope all is well with you. It is no complaints. And Alonzo says the cost of living adjustments are nearly enough. He says they are nearly enough every year or not nearly enough. Michelle, how are you doing? Well, thank you. Thank you. Pamela says, Sister Demetra, can I put something in the chat? Sure. And Raz Cash, how you doing? He says a management company in my area in South Florida want you to make 4 times the rent. The place is not updated at all in hoods and neighborhoods. And yeah, that's what they said too. A lot of the places that are considered affordable aren't always in the best neighborhoods, So like you said, unfortunately, you have a lot of slumlords who are like, yeah, I got a place for you. It's only $900 a month, but you're going to be sharing with some roaches though. It's like, well, can you make them pay half the rent then? So yeah. Herschel, how you doing? He says California is outrageous. I'm about one more rent increase into finding a new state. Yeah, California, unfortunately, is one of those places that don't have many rent control measures in place to help the renter. So it's unfortunate. Benjamin, how you doing? Says they need to cut the check. Hashtag reparations now. We strategize our thinking. He says home ownership, not home loanership. I like that. Calvin says what's crazy is that no Democrats are talking about this, especially our so-called Black leaders, because they're the ones getting pushed out of our community. It seems like there's nothing that can be done. Yeah, there's things that we could do. We can practice group economics on our end, as we said. If you can find somebody that's sensible to roommate with, live with, or whatever, until you can stack your money and things get better. We could save, right? I know if you're making $5 an hour, it's probably hard to do that because most of that money is going toward necessities, but just finding different ways of saving money. So there's things that we can do until we get our check, right? Hey, your average logical thinker, he says times is hard. It is. And Ms. B says, yes, to me, it's easier to rent. And Marcella says, when they were giving out those checks, people that got the checks should have talked to their landlord and paid their rent. Yeah, and I don't understand that. The people, because it wasn't everybody, but the people who did, it was like, I'm not going to pay my rent. Thinking that those moratoriums are going to last forever. Obviously, moratorium is the stopping of something. So stopping for people having to pay rent. And then once that kind of ran out, landlords was like, yeah, you ain't paid rent in 6 months. I want all that money. Then moratoriums were put in place for eviction. So basically people couldn't get evicted. But then those moratoriums ran out. And then landlords like, okay, either you're going to pay up or you're going to get out. So a lot of people, they were just stuck. It's like, well, you didn't think that eventually those people were going to pay or want their money because they have a mortgage to pay. So the mortgage didn't go away. So that kind of baffled me as to why people didn't understand that. And Till Dog, how you doing? Says, how is minimum wage only $5 in Mississippi when federal minimum wage is $12? That's a good question. And I wasn't even aware that federal minimum wage was even $12, but it ain't hit here in Texas, because last time I checked, it was $7.25. So somebody is not getting the memo. But then it's federal. But I guess the states, they ultimately have a say-so as to what they want to pay their people. So state and federal are two different entities, if that makes any sense. Shirley says, I'm happy I purchased my apartment because I wouldn't have been able to retire. And that's another thing they're saying too. A lot of older people, they're not able to pay the rent, or like say if they live in a bigger house or something, like a lot of times people downsize, and they said a lot of people just aren't moving either to free up some of those houses for people who may be starting a family and things like that. And so yeah, if you own your apartment, that's good. That way you ain't got to worry about rent increases. Hello, Shan. How you doing? Your average logical thinker says, so true. I always wanted to live in Austin, Texas, but before I could buy there, Elon Musk appeared. And now the prices are sky high. So they're blaming that on Elon. Uh, I mean, it could be, right? Jamarcus says had to replace an AC unit last summer here in Houston, and that was a pain in the butt. It's pros and cons of having a house. Yeah, and a lot of people just don't realize that. You got to foot the when you own, you foot the bill for everything, right? Benjamin says New York City median rent is $5,000. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Herschel says I know Arnebo, so you're talking to Arnebo. And Cecilia, how you doing? He says efficiencies. He says are $1,000, and what efficiencies are those? If you don't mind me asking. Tracy says, I believe the migrant issue was created to justify not giving reparations. Yeah, I can see that, but you giving it to them, so you had the money, right? You being the government, so that ain't gonna fly. And Brooklyn Bandit, how you doing? It says it's $2,000 a month for a 1 bedroom in the Bronx. Yeah, and even that's a lot of money for a 1 bedroom, and it's probably not even like a glorious apartment, right? I've seen some of those apartments in New York. Some of them you still have to like use the bathroom in a hallway. And I saw one where it's like literally the size of like a closet, a walk-in closet. And it's like, I'm sorry. Marcella says, Dimitri, you said it really hot. This is how I save on utilities during the summer. What I do is go buy cases of water at Costco, stick some of the bottles up in the freezer. You said, and take the bottles. And I think your comment cut off. Let's see, Alonzo, you says, doesn't matter what wing, left wing, right. It's the same bird, Dems and Republicans. Absolutely. Marcella says, any of you want to save money on electricity during the summer, instead of turning on the air conditioner, get you some water and put it in the freezer, drink it and put it on your body. Yeah, that, I guess that will work. But here in Houston, it's not only just hot, it's humid. So the water bottle could work, but the air is so still, like to have the air off, it's hard to breathe. You know what I mean? So like in California, where it's a little bit more drier, you could probably get away with that. And you're in Sacramento. So I'm not quite sure what the temperature there is in the summer, but I know when I took my daughter to school in San Francisco, it was August, it was 52 degrees. But in Southern California, it was like almost 100. So it's typically cooler in that part of the state. And Corey, how you doing? Herschel says, I'm not living with 9 people in 2 bedroom. I have to tough it out. Well, 9 is a lot. 9 people is a lot, but you get the point. Enough to where you can have some room. And I get it, because I'm one of those people. I like my privacy too. Sometimes when I look at houses and I'm driving down the street, I see houses and they have their living room windows, right? They're just big giant windows, or you can see through the house and you can see through the door. I'm like, oh, that would never work for me. Because, I live here with just me and my daughter, so I don't always put on a lot of clothes. I'm just being honest when I walk around the house. And so I couldn't do that. So I get it. Being able to live with a lot of people, yeah, you'd always have to, cover up, which you should. So I get that part of being uncomfortable. But if you're going to save some money, yeah, I throw on a robe or, some shorts or whatever the case is. But I get it. Alonzo, you says, I had great experiences living like the Waltons. Yeah. My siblings and I, we had 1 bedroom when I was coming up. And we got along just fine. Fat son, how you doing? He says, hello, Queen. I really think the South is best. I live in Mississippi in a trailer in 75 acres. Oh, on 75 acres, rather. Not a lot of neighbors and not from far from town. I couldn't imagine living on top of each other. Yeah, you got a lot of space. That is awesome to have that kind of space to yourself. I think I would get a little bit creeped out, though. Like, I think I heard something in the backyard. But good for you for having all of that land. All right, so let me skip down just a little bit so I could catch up. And Muni, how you doing? He says, or is it Money? Money Rich. He says, that's why I bought a Dodge Ram truck. I now have the pink slip. I have my eyes on the camper to put on him, as female men are shocked I own it in Southern California. Is that what it is? Yeah, having a pink slip is awesome. Not having no car payment is the best. All right, so let's skip down so I could catch up. I saw that. Oh, okay, I'm caught up already. Well, look at that. So I'll go back. And Shirley, it says, we as a group have to get the Dems out of office. We got to. I agree. Unless they want to do something specifically for us, right? And our money says, I still have my stimulus check in the bank. I will not touch it. See, that's dope right there. Just save it. A lot of people unfortunately didn't save it. A lot of people couldn't save it. So we'll give it that. A lot of people just couldn't save it. They needed it. But some people had said, I saved it, I'm gonna keep it, and living off of the money that they were already generating before this pandemic came into play. So that's amazing. And Mala Factor says for federal workers only. Uh, okay. Oh, so there's Walter. Ta-da! And let's see here. Marcella says, if you're enjoying and learning something from this program, then yes, please. If y'all could give me some thumbs up, I'd love it. Appreciate you for that. Herschel says, I didn't get the logic behind people thinking they weren't going to have to pay their back rent during the pandemic. Yeah, I didn't get that one either. And Raz, you say, I comment already, but the management company in my area in South Florida wants for 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom in the hood, nothing updated rent. It's time. $2,100 included and needed to make 4 times the rent. They crazy as hell. Ain't no way. Calvin says, even when minimum wage goes up $30 an hour, imagine how much goods and housing prices will be. And that's just the start. Yep. You're going to get that money out you, right? And your average logical thinker says in 2021, Elon Musk bought Tesla headquarters in Austin. Before that, homes were still reasonable. Yeah. What I understand too, Austin is considered one of the most expensive places to live in Texas because it's kind of like, where the happening is, if you will. Shannon says, I paid my rent even during the pandemic. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because it was going to, it's harder to pay 6 months to a year all at once, right? So for me, the logic would have been just keep paying the rent. Or even if you couldn't, say, hey, here's something. But just to say, I ain't got it. Can't get blood from a turnip. It's like, oh, okay. Money says here in Southern California, I just opened the door. Got you. All right. So let's see here. Miss Sweet Talk, how you doing? And OG Patrice, what's going on with you? Yeah, there's Walter. And Khalil, how you doing? Says all that means nothing if you're not using it, especially paying taxes on it. Yes, indeed. All right. So let's see. Did I acknowledge everybody that came on here? So Walter, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
So we were talking about, I don't know if you saw the study where it says that half of Americans can no longer afford to pay rent, for a whole host of reasons, obviously. But we were just talking about different things that people can do in order to try to survive.
Yeah, it's California that they're starting. The moratorium is up any minute, and all those people that didn't pay rent, they're evicting them. So they're talking about the homelessness is about to get out of control here in California. There's 93,000 families that are facing eviction for not paying rent. And this is 4 years. What is it? The pandemic was what, 2000?
It started 2020, March of 2020 is really when it all kind of started to hit the fan.
4 years ago, the pandemic. So yeah, people, and the crazy part is about the pandemic is people were getting, during the pandemic, not everybody got laid off. Unemployment was still, for a pandemic, was considerably reasonable. Most people kept their jobs and everyone got a check. So, you have a lot of people saying, well, we don't know what to do about them. It's like, that sucks. I mean, I feel bad for the people that are going to need a spot. But, and some of those people just, use your word, trick the money off, which is unfortunate. So it's about to get nasty. As far as making rent affordable, I just tell people you can do what I do. I just finished doing laundry for my Airbnb guests. Some of those people nasty. But this house is 3 bedrooms. I'm never here. And so I rent out 2 of the rooms. I'm going to put my 3rd room on Airbnb too. So if I wasn't in a position to afford this house, I could just, the money from the rent Airbnb would take care of it. You have to live in a place that's reasonable because now, some of the cities and council members with their crooked selves are coming after Airbnb people. But that's one way to make your house affordable. If let's say you can afford a 2-bedroom, get a 3 and put it on Airbnb. And then that way, maybe, because sometimes you'll have that room, but you'll be in a bigger house. Or maybe if you need a 3-bedroom, maybe get a 4 and rent out the 4th, and then you guys use the 3. So that's the way to get into a nicer neighborhood too, that you may not be able to afford. And it's actually pretty easy. Once you rent a place, all you have to do is throw it on Airbnb, assuming your landlord doesn't have a problem with it. Most landlords don't really care. As long as they get their check, they could care less. So um, that's what one thing I would do. Another thing is funny. One of my buddies, we talked about that, and he's rich. He just bought 20 acres of land. He's building a small little off the grid, no electricity, water well. He's digging a water well, solar panels. He's going off the grid, and he's worth millions of dollars. He goes, you know what? You never know. So he goes, the cool thing about owning land is it's mine, and I can pull my. It's funny because I always say that too. I can pull an RV on my property, and I could live there as long as I want, as long as I pay the property tax, which is on a piece of land is not much. So that's.
Yeah, I know. In Texas, property taxes are, I think it's the highest in the nation, if I'm not mistaken.
2%.
Yeah.
That's Texas is off. The problem with Texas is it was cheap, and then prices went up, but they didn't adjust the property tax. So you're in a $400,000 house, your property tax is $700 a month. That used to be a house payment in Texas. So, yeah, Texas, I think Texas real estate's going to come down quite a bit because a lot of people moved there from California, but those are people that took a lot of equity, were used to paying $3,000-$4,000 for a house. So even if they are paying $2,000, that's still affordable to somebody from California. Versus the people in Texas that were used to paying $1,500, I think some of the neighborhoods are going to struggle.
Look at this. Alonzo says, we have to get back to valuing family again. I actually live on a family compound. Grandmother, her sisters, and a couple of uncles and aunts. The elderly are gone, but we still own the property.
I mean, that's not a bad way to do it if you can get along with those people.
But let me ask you this. Let me get to these comments. But think about this. Why is it that we can't get along? And I'm going to get to these comments. And Shani says, my rent is now $130. I did the same thing you did. $130 a month for now for 1-bedroom apartment. And where is that?
Is that the Philippines?
Huh?
That in the Philippines?
Felipe, I hope I said that right. How you doing? It says Dimitri K. Black Americans need to start planning to retire overseas. They are being actively priced out of the country. We need to see it. I said we need to see it. Folks need to go on that trip to South Africa and look. Yes, and I'm one of those people that have gone to South Africa. And real estate prices are a lot cheaper there. When I was there, we saw apartments and like penthouse apartments, like $17,000. This was in 2019 when we went. So yeah, South Africa is more affordable than here. So I'd agree with you on that. Tracy said prices are dropping big time in Arizona. Yeah, you're starting to see a lot of people. Let me put you on mute. Walter wants to finish eating his dinner. I'm starting to see a lot of houses even here in Texas are starting to come down as well. Because you guys remember, was a couple years back, was it 2021? Where the real estate prices were just going through the roof and people were buying these houses like just left and right. Just, I don't care how much it is. I just want to hurry up and get in. And a lot of those people got the houses and they're upside down. Now they're like underwater. So now that they're seeing these prices starting to go down, they're trying to sell these houses. So I think it's going to be even better for people who want to buy. Benjamin said, depends on where the land is located. Then folks will do some funny things to take your land if you do not have the complexion for the protection. I'm just saying. And then Felipe, you say, Dimitri, an American retirement is running out $1.5 million per person with no health issues. Yeah, and it's going to be even more for what you need to survive. Facts, not feelings. How you doing? It says Chinese government just liquidated the largest real estate firm in their country. Says they speculated, lost money. The government did not bail them out, but chopped them up and sold them off. Yeah, that's not how they do it over here, though. They bail them out. Marcella says people don't teach their children responsibility anymore. And Herschel says, so you're talking to Shannon, fat son. So you're talking to somebody else. Tracy says, "Is that Section 8 rent?" I know, right? For that $135. Herschel says, "If so, let me get 10 units." Right. And Malo Factor says, "How much does land cost in Venezuela?" It's a good question. And Tony, how you doing? It says, "Peace and prosperity. Our people black first." Yes, indeed. And Benjamin say, "Time to get some land in Africa. Develop it. The United Snakes of America will never let us have peace." So, Walter, back to that question. Why is it that? Because you kind of said it. A couple of people said it too. If we can get along with each other. So why do we have a hard time being able to get along to get along in order to get the money?
I don't. I used to think I knew. I don't. I mean, some of it has to do with the breakdown of, of our race, our roots and all that stuff. I still think it has a lot to do with that. And in the Nation of Islam, they used to talk about it all the time. And you take somebody's roots to language, um, they don't have a ground, foundation, so they act a fool. And I really think that's some of it. This was by design, with all the laws and segregation, and not segregation, but Jim Crow and some of the civil rights. A lot of these things were designed to get, to kind of put our people in the position that we are in. I mean, this is a brilliant design, by the powers that be. It is what it is. So I think that has quite a bit to do with it. And I don't think that we spend a lot of time focusing on, the real thing. Like, for instance, for me, it's just peace of mind. Like, when I talk about owning a piece of property, it just, my stress level drops because I know at the end of the day, I can move my RV on my land. And yeah, it'd be some wild bill stuff, but I would still be on it. And I know people that are actually doing that. One of my good friends, she just quit her job and she's in an RV traveling the country. She has no bills. She goes, "Walter, I'm out of here." So I said she's the happiest she's ever been. So the point being is we have to focus on those things. The problem with Black culture, and you see a lot of this on YouTube, is the stuff that we watch, we're inundated with. It's just pure, I won't use the word dumb. Like, I was watching this show. It's, oh man, I think that you told me about it and somebody else told me about it. And I watched it to my detriment, called The First Wives Club.
Oh, I didn't tell you to watch that. Somebody else told you to watch that.
Maybe we talked about something else, something along those lines. Man, I tell you, I turned on this show and it was just Black people degrading each other, women talking about sucking the thing, and she
yeah, I definitely didn't tell you to watch nothing like that.
he 120, they sleeping around, and just it's the men. The only dark Black dude, Malik Yoba, who's a brilliant actor, the only Black dark dude in the show is that Tyler Perry bad guy. You know what I'm saying? And they got one good dude, two good dudes in the show, but they're like, they're punks for the most part.
First Wives Club?
It's called Wives Club. It's 3 seasons. I ain't gonna make it to 3 seasons. I watched a few episodes and it was just, and I was just thinking, I was like, this is straight tearing the Black community down. And then the lady says something about, she got a freak on in the club and she's like, "Oh, what do I do? Should I get an abortion? I don't know." And she was like, "It's my body, my right. So, I have a choice." And I'm just like, so you talking about killing the Black man? And I mean, one of the daughters in the show has 2 boyfriends. So they show her in the club at 15, like kissing and rubbing these 2. It's just these 2 dudes. And she sits the dude down and like, okay, it's okay as long as you guys respect each other. I'm like, they're rubbing on these 2 dudes, rubbing your daughter in the club on video. It's just, everything about the show is just, and it's Black TV and it's a hit on Netflix. So I think that is destroying.
Is Jill Scott in it?
Jill Scott's in it.
Oh.
And I hated to see her in it because Jill Scott is extremely talented. Jill Scott was really good. Even Tyler Perry, his movies are kind of weird, but she was good in like Why'd I Get Married? I loved her in that.
Yeah,
but the funny part, in this, she's not even acting. She, it must be in her contract. she's not even acting freaky. It's the other girls in the show that are freaks. Bathroom sex. It just pregnant in the bathroom, Plan B in the morning, that type of stuff. Um, but I'm just thinking, and then when you flip through the black shows, this is what you see. So as a black kid, what do you, I mean? Like sooner or later, if you keep told you're a nasty freak, you're 400 pounds, and you can kill the baby after bathroom sex. I mean, what's a kid? What's what's someone to believe?
Yeah, and that's unfortunately, like you said, the programming that they give us. I try not to watch that stuff as much. I'm more like a documentary person, and anybody who knows me knows I like documentaries. I like information. I like to learn stuff. Sometimes I do try to deviate from that because I can, my daughter and other people say you're too serious. My mom used to tell me that all the time. You need to lighten up, because I'm one of those people like Walter. You watch a movie, and I'm like, now this is a mess. You see, this is by design. Look what they doing. And all of a sudden, my mom would be like, "Can you just watch the movie?" I'm trying. So I try not to watch that kind of stuff too often because I know what the programming does. Philip A. Am I saying your name right, by the way? He says, Demetra, medium wealth of Black Americans will fall to zero by 2053, if not sooner. It says Warren's new report study predicts huge and growing gulf between white households and everyone else. Yeah, it says right now that it'll take 232 years for us to catch up to the wealth of white people if reparations is not brought into the picture. There's just no way for us to catch up.
I saw one of those studies.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that actually the wealthiest people, some of the best people in the United States financially are Asians, not white people. White people are actually behind the Asian race.
No, yeah, Asians are the wealthiest, even at the lowest in population. That they're the wealthiest because they understand that group economics. Walter, you listened to the Hidden Secrets of Oriental Wealth, haven't you?
Yeah, twice. I
Yeah.
know. Mm-hmm. So my point being is if they could do it, what's stopping us? And I know the answer. It's education. Chinese parents tell their kid, this is what it is. That or go in the rice bucket and sit there until, dinner time tomorrow. They don't play no games. So I know they're much stricter. So as far as us, we're never gonna, it's catching white people. I don't even know if that's even important anymore. I think what's good is just you just keeping your family afloat and you putting some money away. Because really, I mean, this whole wealth gap thing.
Stephen wants to know who got you watching that chick flick.
Somebody recommended it to me, and I just was like, what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a financial show where they're talking about money and just the things that they go through as women trying to make it. I didn't realize it was going to be hot dog on a stick. I didn't realize that was the show. But you guys, a lot of Black people putting these shows out. So it ain't, yeah, I know Netflix is not owned by Black people, but like Black people are putting out these movies. We can put out some good movies, not to talk about the left, but that movie that Barack and Michelle did was actually pretty good.
I was surprised. It was really good. And I was surprised that they made that caliber of movie. But then I got it. You talking about Leave the World Behind, right?
Yeah, I mean, Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, what's his name? The other dude, the other white cat that played the Bacon, the Ali cat. I mean, there was some good people in this movie.
Mahershala Ali. Ooh!
Yeah, he was in it. He had a really good role in this movie. He's well put together. But it was a good movie. You could watch it with your family. I've seen it 3 or 4 times a movie. It was just a good movie. No, no sex. They flirted with sex, but in a classy way. The scene up with Julia Roberts and Ali, that was it was done really well. They had some jokes about sex. Like she was, he was like, "Hey, baby, how?" She was like, "The kids are going to be in here in 15 minutes." He's like, "I can do it in 15." But that was
thank God they didn't.
Yeah, he probably still had 12 minutes left, but
13.
Right. Those are it's funny. Those are the movie. That was a good movie, and it's a number 1 on Netflix, which shows that you don't have to put out buffoonery to be a number 1 show. So
You know what though? As I watched it, and I love the movie as well, I'm like, Barack and Michelle knew that most people will only see that movie as entertainment and not a warning. You know what I mean? Most people weren't going to watch the movie and say, oh, okay, maybe I need to make some adjustments. Because if you guys haven't seen the movie, I won't give it away. But at the end of the movie, with the conversation between Kevin Bacon and Ethan Hawke, that scene right there, they could have just started and ended the movie with that. Remember when they went to see him and he's like, "Oh my God, I need you to help me," and Kevin was, locked and loaded, like, "No, I'm sorry, can't help you," and he's like, "Please," because at that time they couldn't communicate or do nothing, and Ethan was like, "I don't know how to save my son. I don't know what to do," and Kevin was like, "Y'all don't watch the news? You weren't reading what's going on? You weren't reading past the headlines? You knew this day was coming and you did nothing to prepare?" That right there, like I said, that could have been the beginning, the middle, and the end of that movie, because you are either Kevin Bacon's character or you're either Ethan Hawke's character. Now, when I did a personal assessment, I said I'm somewhere in the middle. And I'll give you guys a perfect example. Y'all used to see me wear my watch all the time, my Apple Watch. I mean, it can tell you directions and anything you could think of, the watch can do. But then when I thought about that, I was like, damn, back when Walter and I were kids, and a lot of y'all were kids, I'm telling our age, we could read a map. Could we not? If we had to get somewhere, you get the Thomas Guide or the map and you look on it and you say, oh, okay, you got to go here and do that. Most people can't even read a map anymore, or a compass. And so I stopped wearing my watch for a few reasons, but one of them is because I noticed that it led to my anxiety, because every time my phone got an email, a text, a call, or anything, my watch did too. So I constantly found myself looking at my watch, or, like just always in tune. And so that I stopped wearing it. I don't have the anxiety of needing to know what's going on and who's calling me, who's texting me, and all that other stuff. So yeah, I found myself somewhere in the middle of those characters. But y'all should check it out. It's a great movie.
it was a good movie, good warning, and the friends that I talked to that are kind of financially like they're like we need to have a plan B. We all talked about the same thing. Like after that movie, I went back to the grocery store and bought more canned stuff. I don't eat canned goods, but in an emergency, you know, I ain't gonna be looking for grass fed stuff. I'm just gonna be trying to survive. Um, and then the land, I tell you guys, like if I can't stress you enough, just get you even if it's a small piece. And I hear some people say, well, you can't own land in some places because you're black. I mean, like, I don't believe that. And my sister tell you, I moved to the whitest, the honkiest neighborhood in Texas, and it wasn't an experiment. It was a cheap house, and it was eye opening. My God, the craziest part is, and do you know my neighbor across the street, the old white guy, real nice, used to come over, cut my grass, take my trash out. He would just, if you saw him, he just looked like Hillbilly Hick. This he used to cut my grass, and when I was out of town, he would take care of my house. Hey, Walter, I went into the backyard. I'm just like, dang. I mean, like these people are watching my house because I was traveling so much. So some of the stereotypes we were able to break. So the point I'm making, just get you a piece of land somewhere. Um, I think that is the most powerful thing you could do, because if you get your real estate cost out of the way, your need for income goes down. You get rid of your housing and transportation costs and really think about what you need. You know what I'm saying? You can grow. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube about growing your own food. A lot of people doing these kitchen things. You can grow your food in the kitchen. And my Joshua Tree place, we're looking at putting an indoor garden, like covering it and just growing tomatoes, avocados, some of the basic stuff. And you could do that. And especially you guys that live more toward the west, you can buy property for 5-10 grand. Remember that house, that little piece we saw on the Lake D for 10 grand?
Yeah.
Man, we should have bought that $10,000. Well, it was a small lake, but still.
Right. Could have squeezed something right on there, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's worth more than that now. But so that is really what I think. We should make sure we own something, and then we should start turning some of this stuff off. Like I was watching, and I feel bad for these tech CEOs. I just do.
Oh man, I saw that today too.
Some of those congressmen and congresswomen, they need their behinds whooped. I'm like, will y'all stop badgering these people about why Facebook, your kid committed suicide after being on Facebook? I know what Mark wanted to say is, you know what? Then take your kid off Facebook.
He did kind of say that though, because what Walter's speaking
Well,
of,
he eased on it though, but I know, yeah.
but you could tell he was mad. So it was a congressional hearing with the tech companies, basically negatively influencing children, right? And so you have these Congress people, if y'all didn't see it, that were going in on the CEOs of Facebook, TikTok, and all the other social media platforms, and doesn't your platform do this? And did you know this person and that person did this and that person did that? And so they were talking to Mark about some things that kids were getting a hold of or whatever. And Mark Zuckerberg was like, for lack of better words, where does parenting come in? But of course, the Congress people was not allowing them to speak. Every time they answer a question, that's a yes or no, answer. And the CEO from TikTok, I felt bad for him because that one Congressman Cotton or Senator Cotton, his name is. I mean, he was just doing a number on him. Aren't you a part of the communist, thing and this, that? He's like, no. But it's like, I'm like you, Walter. They said all that to say, wasted all that taxpayers' money on those hearings to say, in a nutshell, we don't have any control over our children. Because, like Mark said, well, first of all, y'all the kids got to be 13 to be on the Facebook anyway. So is that my fault, or is it that your fault that your underage child is on, got an account? They say we try to catch it when we can, but ultimately that's your fault if your children are on these apps being influenced by that. So basically, what they're trying to do is shut them down. Well, but we know why they're trying to shut them down.
Yeah, do tell, because shutting Facebook down, the world would end. Facebook and Instagram went down for a half a day and the world went nuts.
Okay, work with me here, okay? Now, y'all know on these platforms, we can't say but so much. So work with me here, okay? If y'all could pick up what I'm putting down without really saying too much, just think about in the last couple of months, what has transpired, right? Especially what's going on in the Middle East, the Gaza Strip, okay? Now, think back 20 years ago, before social media was a thing. Now, follow me here. I'm trying not to confuse y'all. Social media wasn't a thing, but the mainstream media was, right? Most people got their information from the mainstream media, right? And so we know that the media, they have these talking points that they often disseminate. Okay. Now bring in social media. Think about what happened a couple of months ago at the Gaza Strip. With social media, people who were over there with firsthand accounts were able to report back to social media and say, what they've been telling y'all on ABC, CBS, Fox, and all these other mainstream media is not the truth. Y'all look at somebody like Sean King, who had almost 4 million followers on Instagram. They got rid of his account. They shut him down because he was disseminating other information from what the mainstream media was putting out, to the point to where people were like, okay, wait a minute. You media, you guys are flat out lying to us. So now you see this big old push for them to get rid of these social media companies. Now, answer the question as to why. Because they can no longer debunk the truth. They can't brainwash people into, well, this is really what's going on over there, because most people didn't know before then. But now you have social media and you're seeing it in real time. People could go live and all that. It's like, okay, well, yeah, we see what's going on. Y'all just been lying. So we got to be smarter than that. So anyway, let's see here. And Alonzo, you say, go figure. Barack knew this when he was in office. He has the House, the Senate at the Oval Office, first Black president in the appearance. Only my A. Okay. Yeah, average article thinker says, Walter, what are your thoughts on Trump's DWAC stocks? I brought some after someone on here recommended it.
Oh, I didn't follow it. By the time I saw it, it was already through the roof, and I knew it was going to come down. So I didn't mess with it.
Okay.
I knew it was fluff. I mean, not when I say fluff, it was hype. It's Donald Trump, for God's sake. He's a master of sales.
Yep. What was the name of that book? The Art of the Deal and all of that.
Great book. Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn, you say they are just trying to censor people on every platform. The government wants total control of our lives. You got it. Tia, you say, yes, my cousin bought 300 acres of land in a small town in South Carolina, Twin Lakes Ward, South Carolina. Yes, indeed. And that's where they have a lot of, well, some, I guess, Gullah Geechee land, where a lot of these white developers are still trying to take it, you know? Yeah, your average article thinker, control your kids. Why are you putting that on the tech companies and anybody else? Back in the day when we were kids, our parents were mindful of what we were watching, even on television, right? They didn't just say this in front of the TV and say, okay, just watch it to your heart is content. They were like, what are you watching? Okay, that's inappropriate. Turn that off, you know? But nowadays you have babies as young as it, or, you know, they can hold the phone and go on apps and all that. They got babies with on social media and cell phones and all this other stuff. It's like, why on earth would you allow your children to be unbridled on the internet? You know what I mean? So it's like them trying to hold the tech companies responsible is just silly to me. And I think all those senators and Congress people, all of them should lose their jobs, because it's like there's a lot more things going on other than you not being able to keep your children, you know, off the internet. Tracy says 14 to be on Facebook, but you let them on you follower your children solves a lot of problems. And Tanya, how you doing? Tanya's reviews. You say, I remember that day I was at work, so I had no clue. Okay. And one who cares, how you doing? I hope all is well. The mayor likes me, says free speech control. Yep. And one who cares, you say, got it. Miss B says, yes, I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And low quality content TV, how you doing? Say facts. And let's see here. The one who cares says exactly truth is getting out to us. Low quality says social media is blase, G, and a curse, or a blessing and a curse. Got you. Donovan says, but I thought we were, as people were doing okay. We are doing well. Yet our community as a whole is hurting every which way you see it. Yeah, no, don't believe the hype, right? And Alonzo says they cannot control the narrative on social media. Yep. So I think that's what this is really about. But I mean, at this point, they can't shut down social media, because that's how a lot of information is disseminated now. People, in fact, newspaper publications, they have laid off a lot of their staff because they can't afford to pay them, because people aren't buying newspapers anymore. You can go online and get the information like that. So that could also be part of it as well.
Yeah, Facebook, those guys aren't going anywhere. Neither is TikTok, because the minute TikTok gets shut off, you want to have a zillion kids killing themselves. Because can you think about this? You have kids, families, grown adults who have quit their jobs to start a business on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. You telling me you're going to go out and kill millions of jobs for all these people making money on TikTok? Come on. I don't care if the Chinese president came on with American flag on fire with his booty hanging out the back of him screaming, death to America. They are not going to shut down TikTok because too many Americans rely on it. And before social media, it was mainstream television. What you used to have to do, if you wanted to watch some freaky stuff, you used to have to stay up late and watch Howard Stern or Benny Hill or Cinemax. You used to have to stay up till like 12, 1 in the morning to even watch that crap. And now you guys, and you let your kids, like I have friends, and I'll leave them nameless, they give their kid the iPad at like 4 years old. You have a 5-year-old that has an iPad, and you can't even tell. I watched somebody I know take the iPad from their kid.
Oh, man.
Put it on the counter. The kid swung back around, grabbed the iPad, and put it back in front of her. And the parent didn't do nothing. I said that kid is going to be whooping your ass when they get older. You take the stuff from them. I wish you would come over here and grab this iPad, and you can do that with all kind of things. Like you can, going back to the Black community, we can make ourselves and our kids, we could force them to do right financially, but we don't want to. We don't want to hurt their feelings. But what if they don't want to do that? What if they want to do something else with their life? That's some of the dumbest advice ever. Because you know what the Asians and the Indians do? They send their kids to medical school. Uh, I mean, or medical school, or Filipinos send their kids to nursing. If you're a Filipino woman, the minute you can like hold a scalpel or a stethoscope around your neck, you are a physical therapist or you are nursing. And I know for a fact that has bolstered, because most of my friends that are Filipino are in medicine, and their parents, and it's what they were going to do. They didn't have a choice. And I think when we start giving our kids too much choice, especially Black people, we destroy them. And the stuff that they watch, and some of y'all women, y'all need y'all asses whoops, letting your daughters. Anyways, I'm not going to get stuck on that track. But if we want to keep complaining about our situation, we have to do something about it. That's all there is to it. So, and the retirement age could be raised to 90. The problem is what you do with the money that you get. That's it. The retirement age, like, think about this for a second. If you rely on Social Security, you're getting $1,500, $2,000 a month, maybe $2,500 if you balled out on the paycheck. What can you do with $2,000 a month in this country? Not a lot. So I wouldn't really. That's again relying on the government. If I'm 62 years old and I need my Social Security check to cover my bills, I would just cut my throat.
Hey, you can't say that on here.
You can't say that. You cut my throat is the wrong word. But
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, if I'm 62 and I need that check to get by, that means I made a mistake with all the stuff that we have. You can go to YouTube right now, type in money and financial strategies, and it's zillions of hours of information. But that is not what Black people want to watch.
Right.
Cat Williams was on the way to 100 million views. And I still can't tell you half the stuff he was talking about.
Did you watch it?
I watched it. And I had to, so I was Googling people's names and what Steve, what was this going on? Half the stuff I didn't know what he was talking about. But it was incendiary. And that is what Black people, that's what we go to. And it's the way it is. It's why Tyler Perry is so, and he's got some of his stuff is brilliant, but it's why he's so wealthy. And it's funny, we complain about the way Blacks are portrayed, but like some of our biggest Black leaders are the ones doing it. And when they get done putting that filth on TV, then you have Oprah swing around and then kill whoever's still standing. She's going to take them out. We need to deal with that stuff. Stop watching that crap. Somebody was like, have you ever seen Power? I was like, no. For what?
Oh, I have. I ain't gonna lie. I watch Power. It's pretty good, but I will say I concede your point. Power, it's pointless. It's about killing and drug dealing and everything else you can think of. I will say this. So I do watch some of that stuff. BMF is one of my favorite shows. I'm just keeping it real with you. However, if I had a child, we would not be sitting up watching Power. I understand some people allow their children to watch that. It's not geared for children, just like a lot of the television shows when we were coming up were not geared for us, right? That's what your parents watched. And then, we went to bed or whatever the case is. Like I said, I saw this meme on Facebook years ago, and it says, when the theme song, The Mash, was coming on, you knew that was time to go to bed. You just didn't sit up and watch everything with your parents. But to your point, Walter, I think it's always been that way with Black television programming. It's usually been to degrade us. It's never really, rarely, I should say, ever been to uplift us. I just say, yeah, Tanya, Taxi, that was coming on. It's time to go to bed. But that's where we should start educating our children. We need to educate them. A lot of times people are sitting their children or whatever in front of the TV or the radio, and they're not giving them the other side. That's all they're getting. That's all they're getting is the filth. And as my father always says, you can't teach what you don't know. So a lot of parents don't know nothing. They don't know nothing past, the filth on TV, the filth on the radio, and they don't have the sense God gave a cricket to have their children away from that kind of stuff. You know, we talk about all the time when we was coming up, you couldn't sit in the same room with your mama as she was having a conversation with her friends and she'd be like, you need to be pushing along, okay? Get out my mouth. But nowadays, a lot of parents, the kids be in the room and they be, girl, this ain't word, this, no. Then the children start talking like that. And then they talk about whooping the children. It's like, why are you gonna whoop the children for? They listening to you talk like that. You know, they didn't get that from the cradle, from the womb. They got that from you. So
yeah, what we need to start doing is teaching our kids, and and you don't have to do it all the time. Like one of my kids joked about. I've had several of my kids joke about. I used to get to buy them books for Christmas, and my youngest daughter Morgan almost had to like literally remove a layer of her skin. It was like, "What are you gonna do, Dad? Buy us books?" But she got that from my older kids. One of my oldest daughter who used to joke about that, and now what they're doing? Reading books and paying hundreds of dollars for a book in school. And so I just kept hitting them with the financial knowledge. I remember Chris was like, one time, we must have been like 8. We was in the walking to the car. He goes, Dad, I know, buy the house, refinance it, pull the cash out, buy another house. He was like 8. And he was like, oh, Dad, I got it. But there's nothing wrong with because if you teach your kid too much, you're too aggressive, then society says you're overbearing. But then your kid gets older and they can't do anything for themselves, or they're 35 and they still live with you. I mean, what do we do? And I think we as Black people, I really think that is our responsibility, is to snatch our kids and each other and say, no, man, no. We in this house, we serve the check. We're going to make moves financially. And I think even if you talked about that once a week with your family, you don't have to know money all the time. There's a lot of stuff. I remember watching CNBC and I couldn't understand. It was the Matrix to me. And after a while, I was like, oh, that's AXP's American Express, or A is for 18. Like sooner or later, I was like, oh, F is for Ford. And it started making sense to me. And so we have to get back to that. And the wealth gap and the white man and all that stuff. Take that stuff, put it here, and you keep it where you need to see it. But you use the rest of that space to be productive on yourself.
Donovan just reminded me of something. He said, Mama be with the phone and extension cord and go in her room and close the door on you, man. I remember too. You ever remember trying to sneak on the phone after everybody was asleep?
Oh, yeah.
That phone with the cord and you trying to get off somewhere and hoping you don't get caught. God forbid your mama or daddy get on the other phone. Go to bed.
She was notorious for stuff like that. She could care less who what was watching.
Ooh, that was embarrassing, boy. Wasn't you supposed to be in the bed? Get on the other line and you talking to somebody. It's like, oh my God. Right.
We need that back. We need to be able to control our kids. And until we do, we are doomed. And I was watching TV the other day, just the news, because now it's political season. That's my groove. And the Democrats are going all in on abortion. And I'm like, man, listen, with all these migrants in the economy and all our kids at war and the sexual predators and it's funny how Jeffrey Epstein, all those people, we're supposed to get the list of all these people and expose all these celebrities and all these people, the freaks. And what happened to all that stuff? Just the news cycle, just poof, gone. I'd have to search for Jeffrey Epstein news right now. Today they were talking about all the pedophiles. Facebook is responsible for kids being pedophiles. Like, get your kid off the internet. Like, who? I remember sitting in the house, all of us watching the same TV. And like you said, when certain things came, it was like time to go to bed.
And I tell them that time too. We had bedtimes when we was coming up. Like Donovan said, not kids nowadays, they fall out where they standing. They ain't got no bedtimes, but we had bedtimes. I remember being in high school and we had to, go to bed. Obviously, it was maybe a little bit later than earlier, but yeah, we wasn't able to just stay up all day. And to this day, if I'm not doing anything, I'll be in bed at like 7 o'clock. Cause I'm like, if I don't have nothing to do, I'm not gonna burn the candle at both ends trying to force my eyes open with toothpicks to stay open. I'm like, it's time to go to bed. And I do that. For me, that signifies I'm done and it's time to go to bed. I don't need to stay up all night long. No, I don't. So, but I got that from I'm having bedtime. My daughter's the same way. She goes to bed pretty early too, 7, 8 o'clock. If we're not doing anything, just out of habit.
Yeah. So we need to get back to that and be in control.
Wait, hold up. Do you remember Mom watching this?
All the time. Lord, Christ. That was the original Orange is the New Black. That was funny.
My mom used to watch that. We didn't watch it, but my mom did.
I saw a tiny bit of it, but it came on either at the wrong time or super late. I don't remember sitting there watching it. And Maude, I used to watch that. Yeah, but the problem is you can't tell your kids what to do because we keep voting for these liberals. And like I watched them, man. I was heartbroken today watching that crap on TV. Because these guys, say what you want about Mark and Elon. I'm so tired of people talking about Elon being the devil. The dude, think about this. Think about what Elon has done. And I'll come back to that. Elon has the only reason we have electric cars from everyone else is because Elon did it first and he took Tesla over that was collapsing and he turned it into something. That is it. Elon is using reversible rockets. So instead of them flying into the space, he has them come back and land. He's the first person to do that. The dude is digging grounds under LA and on electric cars to get rid of pollution and to get cars off the street. And the list goes on and on and on. And I hear people talking crap about Elon like he is the devil. It's like, man. So we have to cut up that left-wing thinking. Somebody does well, like Mark Zuckerberg, regardless of how he got Facebook, he built this incredible company. And so did Elon and Jack Dorsey and all. I mean, these guys, they're incredible people. We stop demonizing those people, especially us Black people. Stop demonizing them and saying, yo, Elon, I want to be like Bill Gates. Maybe not the freaky stuff, but I want to be these cats. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody else went before us. They could do it. We could probably do it too. Black people, we used to think like that. We had the #1 bus line in the country from like 1920, I think, to like 1972. Humongous bus company. How come no one talks about that? We had our own bus company. No one talks about it. And it was in business for a half century. So those are the type of things we could do. Abortion. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and talk about abortion. I'm 55 years old. I can't get no one pregnant if I tried. It's just going to be practice. You know what I'm saying? But I think there's other stuff we could probably be addressing. Because for me and my neighbors and all my friends, abortion never comes up in our conversation. You know what comes up? The economy, immigration, homelessness. I'm in a gated community, and across this, when I pulled in the gate, I saw about 30 people sitting in the grass in front of my community, just sitting there, just chilling, bags, just chilling. Oh, yeah. And they about to tear it up right in front of my gate. Now, listen, I ain't gonna be that dude to sound like, oh, not at my gate, but like, that's where the world is going. And these leftist policies, Black people, we keep getting distracted and voting for. Abortion, it's a distraction to get people off the issue. Yeah. Well, yeah, RTD, by then it was, I wrote the RTD consistently. Man, we wrote that RTD till the wheels fell off. I remember them, the red, orange, black, something along those lines.
Let's get back to this. Your average logical thinker says, for some reason, a lady in New York popped on my feed. Her 13-year-old daughter is pregnant and running away, and she has 4 other kids to raise. How did we end up here? I wonder. Bad decisions. Walter, what you think about that?
The 13-year-old daughter got pregnant and ran away, and she has 4 kids to raise. The mom has 4 kids to raise. Foster care? Shoot, I don't know. Or put the fear in your kids. My kids know damn well they're not bringing no kid over here. Dad, nope. Change the lock and the code.
I would say this, because it's not really a one size fits all. Because sometimes you could be the best parent in the world, and some children, they just ain't gonna act right. But I think for the majority of that is, I think for some reason parents get to the point where they think they don't have to parent anymore. You know what I mean? Like, oh, my child can fend for itself. Just because your child can pour itself a bowl of cereal and, give itself a bath, that doesn't mean you stop parenting. In fact, as a parent, you never stop parenting. Even until you die, or God forbid they go, you are still a parent that still has to give wisdom and guidance. You don't just say, oh, well, they are right. I'm going to just, go do my thing now. It's some me time, So you have to be ever present in the lives of your children. Because I want to know, first of all, and it's just me, how does a 13-year-old even get off somewhere to be with somebody to get in that situation? You know what I mean? I know you can't watch the clown.
Is the issue.
Right. And I know you can't watch it 100% of the time, but why is your child off without you? Because nowadays, we probably all see it. You drive down the street, you see kids just unsupervised. And, I'm talking about kids that are obviously under 18. And I'm talking about kids that are in high school. They just walk in the streets. And I often wonder, where your parents at? Do your parents know that you're just out here? Because I know when we was coming up, our parents had to know where we were. And Walter's my brother, so he'll tell you, we couldn't go anywhere unless my mom and dad knew how we was getting back. Okay, it wasn't, okay, mom, see you later. All right, dad, we out of here. Now, how y'all getting back? Do you have a way back? Did y'all, they needed to know all that. Who you gonna be with? You better be where you say you're gonna be. Otherwise, because back then, you had no cell phone. If our mom came to pick us up somewhere, you better be there. Because my mama was not playing. She would leave you, okay? And you was going to be walking a long way home. So people, you can't stop parenting your children. You can't leave your children unsupervised. That's, in person. That's on these phones. That's in front of TV. Because I often ask people who allow their children to just aimlessly play on the phone. I ask them, I say, would you allow your children to meet a stranger in the alley in the middle of the night? Oh, God, no, I know. That's the equivalent almost when you leave your child unsupervised on these phones. You don't know who they're talking to. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know what room they're in, you don't know what they're doing. And I'm one of those people, and I will say this about Elon, since he's taken over Twitter. I didn't like Twitter before, but I rarely go on Twitter. You know why I don't go on Twitter? Because it's traumatizing to me. At least when Jack Dorsey owned it, there were certain things you weren't going to see. Now, I was kind of the Wild Wild West on there too, but not as much. I don't go on Twitter because I don't follow these things. I might see somebody having full on, sex. I might see somebody getting murdered. I might see somebody getting beat to death, or, just a bunch of heinous things. So I don't go on Twitter because I don't like it. It's just unbridled. And so imagine me, a 52-year-old woman who does not like to go on Twitter. But imagine a child going on Twitter and seeing all the things that I just described. And you as a parent don't know your children are watching that. You can go on Twitter and even, a lot of these other social medias and see Sexy Red bending her behind over and all kind of stuff. So if I see it, don't you think your child sees it? So why is your child on social media and you don't know what they're doing?
And who is Sexy Red entertaining? And there's this other rapper. It's a female rapper. Oh my God. Somebody was telling me their kid was going to see. It's this female rapper. It was in California. I can't remember it. I can't remember her name. It's not Sexy Red. Some other name. She And the mom played me one of the songs, and it was like beep, 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 D, beep, P, beep. And she had a song about the P. The whole song is about the P word.
That's almost every song nowadays.
And I said to her, and because her daughter was gone, and it made me question what I was doing in the car with this chick. I go, I wish my daughter would ask me to go to a concert where the girl is using the P word all night long. And the funny part is the adults were taking the kids. There's like an 8-year-old kid, no, 9, 10-year-old kid that was going. His favorite rapper is this dirty, filthy chick. 8-year-old kid, his mom, aunts, cousin, they all going together to this concert. And I sent her a text and I was like, effing losers. That was how I ended that conversation. So
yeah, but you'll be surprised at the things that parents do with their children nowadays, even the grown children.
you know, I have a friend, her daughter's 16, had an OnlyFans, implants, all kinds of stuff.
At 16?
Yeah, and you know, somebody in the office sent me a video of this girl's daughter at 16 years old. And I was like, whoa, I said, my homeboy said, dude, don't send me shit like that. Number one. Number two, how did you get it? And what is the mama doing? You go on her Instagram, her and the mama together, they're posing on my daughter cute. Look at her boob. And that's
And does her mom know that she had that?
the mom's the one that set her up. The mom's the one that set up the OnlyFans account. We are doomed. Now I'm talking about the whole race, but like
That is wild.
none of these people I'm talking about right now, none of these people are black. I mean, hallelujah.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know. See, even as grown-ups with children, you still need to have that line of demarcation. What I mean is, Walter, you're what, 75 years old, give or take?
Something like that.
Yeah. Walter's you 54? You're 54. You're 54?
I'm 54.
That's good. You forget, you know. But there's certain things you wouldn't do with your children, and all your children are grown. There's certain things you still wouldn't do with your children because there still needs to be that line of I'm still your daddy and you still my child, you know. The same way with my daughter. You know, I'm not gonna be clubbing with her. Not that she does that often, but when she goes out with her friends, I'm not gonna be like, can I tag along? I got me a freakum dress too that I need, you know. I'm just not gonna do that, right? Because I still need to be seen as the mother figure in the relationship. But unfortunately, people don't have that line. They do all kind of stuff with their children, whether they're grown or not. And it's like, we're not gonna be puff passing together. I don't do that anyway, but I'm not finna do that with my children. I'm sorry. You know. You're on mute.
That is our fault. You guys, I promise you, there's nothing the white man can do to us that we are not doing to ourselves. I promise you, black people, man, think about all the crazy news we've got lately. Like this whole thing with TD Jakes, I don't know enough about it. I can't comment on it, but all I know is what I see. What happened to that? It's just gone. I see a video with Tyler Perry, boom shakalaka, over TD Jakes, and then the next clip, him and Puffy are hanging out, and everyone in the entertainment industry knows if you go to a Puffy party, somebody rubbing baby oil lotion on your booty. It's going down. They have a baby oil corner. You walk into the corner, baby oil just pour down on you before you walk into the party. Instead of security and the pat down, they got a baby oil fountain. You have to walk through to get into the party.
Stop it.
It's like COVID when they used to have you walk through the spray for the pandemic.
No.
You got a baby oil spray before you walk into a Puffy party. But that stuff is just under the rug. Now we're talking about abortion. And we're back to how detrimental the white man is. But all that other stuff that's happening in our community, it's just buzz and we just let it go. How come no one's holding TD Jakes accountable? I mean, I don't know if what he's doing at these baby oil parties, but you are as strong as your environment. I do not like chicken, but if you put a piece of fried chicken in front of me and it sits there all day, there's a good chance I'm gonna take a small bite.
Man, stop lying. If it's there 5 minutes, you gonna eat it.
I don't like chicken, seriously. I'll eat the skin, which is even worse. But I'll tear some hot wings up, and I eat hot wings. I can probably count on my hand the last time I've eaten hot wings in the last 2 years. But you are as strong as your environment. And I don't know why we just don't focus on that. Like, hey, kids, give me the iPad. We're going to talk money. We're going to talk, land, and we're going to talk ownership. Like, you guys, I'm telling you, just try it. Just go out, get you, I don't care if it's a corner, and get you a piece of land somewhere and put your little, I don't know, put something on it. And just sit there. Like when I go to Josh Retreat to my 5 acres, and my neighbors started acting the fool. What are you going to do over here? What are you going to build? Oh, the Negroes here. What's going on? All my neighbors came over, and we had a meeting. It's the funny part. Lady drove from Santa Monica, this Jewish lady, drove over, and the neighbors came over. Everybody white. It just is what it is. I'm going to keep it truth. And they came over, was like, oh, what are you doing? I said, the good thing about me owning this land is I can do whatever I want. And that was it. And then I heard, the neighbors, one of my neighbors, Amanda, she's like, oh, the neighbors, they were talking about you. I said, they can call me landlord or land owner. You know what I'm saying? They can kiss my black ass. Period. And that is the power of ownership. You don't have to own your house. I'm not a fan of owning your house before you own investment real estate. I think that's a horrible idea for most people to buy a house before you own investment property. It's just death to smoochie, period. But you own something. People that own something have better dignity, more pride. Like when you pay your car off, don't you feel like, man, this is what's up?
Yep.
Like this is my ride. This is my car. You know what I'm saying? That, and the taxes, listen, the taxes are, you're going to pay tax on everything. But the good thing about owning property, commercial investment real estate, is it's tax deductible. Your expenses, what you do on that property for the most part is tax deductible. And you guys, property tax is 1% for the most of the nation, except for Texas, and maybe somewhere else. But even if you own a piece of property and it's $50,000, at 1%, your property tax is $40 a month. Do not tell me that $40 a month is stopping you from having peace of mind. Do you see where I'm going with this? So just own something. That's it. Used cars, I got 2 of them in my driveway right now. I'm never again am I buying a new car. Lord have mercy, help me, Jesus, Allah, Muhammad, Methuselah, whoever you believe in. You couldn't pay me to buy a new car unless I would just money. I'd have to be hundreds of millions, and even then, I know I can buy a Ferrari for $200,000, but wait, well, not a Ferrari, because those don't depreciate. But you get the point. Those type of things make you strong, and then get away from the material stuff. Like I sold the car to a dude today. He was like 40. He gave me $2,500 for his BMW. And he goes, I just need a car to get from A to B. Me and my wife, we just want to be in something a little bit nicer. It's a $2,500 car. And he's like, my wife is happy. She's excited. We got a new car. And I go, you know what's the beautiful thing about that? Is them just being into each other. I guarantee she's not on social media, Facebook, TikTok, look at them. They got this. They're just at peace. And we need more of that. Until we get that, Black people, we're going to be in trouble. So I wish it was different.
And like you said, Love JJ, how you doing, by the way? And the community, how you doing? And Kev J, what's going on with you? Like you said, Love JJ, we are programmed to get loans. Like we think that's normal, right? To be stuck with a car payment. At some point in time, you need a dependable car. You might have to get a car payment. But if your car is in good condition, you don't have to get another one. That's just like we're programmed to get a new phone every year, right? Every time Apple comes out with a new phone, you got to get one. I honestly trade my phone in probably every 3 years. Every 3 years, I'm not one of those people who are, oh, Apple got the latest. Well, let me go on and get it. I'm like, do I have to? So my phone has got to be kind of malfunctioning or whatever for me to think about getting it. But I don't trade my phone in every time a new one comes out. Not I don't have a need to have anything like that. And Alonzo says, Walter is right. On land, there are things to avoid: all the taxes, land covenants, and land trust. Kev says, don't pay your property taxes and see how much you own. Right? They
No,
gonna be coming to
you got to pay the property taxes. That you got to pay. I'm not saying don't pay your taxes. Do pay your taxes, but I mean, it costs to own stuff. It is what it is. You're going to pay taxes, but we get rid of some of these liberals and some of these crazy spendings. Like one thing I do like about the conservatives is they talk about cutting government. I think the government workers, like 1 in 4 people work for the government. How is that sustainable? I mean, in what world does that make sense? AOC's bringing down 200 plus grand with cars and homes and dinner meals and budget for her dress at the gala to tax the rich. Like, how does she live on 300 or 400 grand? What is she bringing to the table? What's Orrin Hatch bringing to the table? For 400 grand in expenses. We gotta start questioning some of that stuff. Say what you want about Trump. He's a dirty old man. But at the end of the day, I choose to serve the money. And what I mean is money is going to make sure my family is secure as long as money is still a thing. Because one day it's not going to be.
And that one day I think is coming soon. It's like, yeah, hold on to as much money as you can, because when that day comes, it ain't going to be nothing nice. But Walter, let me ask you this before we get out of here. I see your muscles and all that going on. Are you working out a lot? Like, what are you doing? Because Walter, if you don't know, was it last year? Walter went on like a 21-day fast. He, has a little bout of cancer he's dealing with. So he's completely changed his diet and all of that. And I see that you haven't put on any weight. So what are you doing to maintain that?
I work out. I think I hit and when I say gym, I mean my exercise equipment around the corner. No, it's diet, 100%. I got the book, The Glucose Goddess. I follow that chick on YouTube, and I just follow her instructions. I eat. I mean, you can see right now, I'm eating a block of cheese and avocado, and I got a glass of wine sitting here, and I'm going all in. I got like anchovies and olive oil. I'm doing the calorie thing right now, but I eat food in a certain order. I do vinegar shots. I did today. I've already drunk vinegar 3 times. Every time you drink vinegar, it lowers your blood sugar. And if you eat vinegar before a meal, your blood sugar spike is reduced. And the way that you gain weight is from blood sugar spikes. When you spike your blood sugar, insulin goes, oh, shoot, let's get these foods out of here. And insulin's sole job is to move sugar from the body and put it somewhere. That's insulin's sole job, or it's one of the jobs, is to move sugar out of the way. And sooner or later, your insulin's like, okay, I don't know where to put the sugar. And so, put it in the stomach. Don't put it on the hips. I'm gonna put it on the back. Some of y'all got some big back fat. You know what I'm saying? Like some fat back. Like boom, 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 boom. What was that song? Man. Anyways.
Shut up. You drink the vinegar, Tracy. You crazy.
I just put in water and I drink it. And I tell you guys, people laugh at me. It is proven fact. Vinegar reduces the blood sugar spike. If you don't spike your blood sugar, you do not bring insulin to the table and you do not gain weight. You gain weight from sugar spikes. That's it. Not only do you gain weight, you age. If you look at the glycemic indexes, like blueberries and blackberries, avocados are low on the glycemic index, where mangoes and yellow bananas are way up on top of the index. So glycation, the medical term for glycation is aging. Every time you raise your blood sugar, you glycate, you age. Women, did you hear what I said? Every time you raise your blood sugar, you age. That's why you'll see some people that look younger than others because they have their blood sugar under control. When you raise your blood sugar, you are basically cooking your body. So I do the vinegar, and then when I do eat, I do fibers. First, avocado has 10 grams of fiber in it. A cup of blackberries has 10 grams of fiber. You only need 30 a day as a human. So I do fiber first, oils, fats. I do proteins, fats, oils. I do those next. And then if I'm going to do carbs or sugar, then I'll do that last. I rarely do sugar. The only sugar that I really do is I'll drink wine sometimes. But even if I'm going to go out to dinner with friends and have a drink, I will eat an avocado or a thing of broccoli sprouts because broccolis are humongous in fiber. I'll eat that before I leave the house. Even, my girl will tell you, she's like, oh, we're going to dinner. I'll grab a thing of broccoli and I'll eat it and I'll take my vinegar shot. So, and you could do white vinegar. It doesn't matter as long as it doesn't have sugar in it. So some of the balsamic vinegars have a lot of sweets in it. I would stay away from those. Just you can grab that old vinegar from the stove, that the vinegar with the white label. I don't know, the Heinz vinegar or whatever it's called. You can do that.
I do apple cider vinegar if I do it. I don't do it all the time, but I remember to do it. But Miss Sweet Talks, hence your name, right? Sweets. You say what? I'm eating too much sugar. You know what? We all are, unless we're cognizant of it. I don't eat sugar. It's rare that I eat it. I mean, like I said, once I started studying about sugar, it's in everything. It's in ketchup. It's in everything.
Breads. Like I don't do bread. You rarely catch me doing bread because bread and white bread, especially the enriched, it's all sugar, all that stuff. So what you do is you get away from the sugar. I'm telling you, you don't gain weight from fat. You gain weight from sugar. It's the only way that you gain weight is from sugar. Nothing else. When in the 70s we went to a low fat diet. Remember that in the 70s, low fat everything.
I know.
The obesity chart went boom, man. We used to have the fat kid in school. Now we have the skinny kid in school. Go to your kid's school. Look at him. When I was a kid, kids didn't have fat hanging around the belt buckle all the way around. I mean, like Fat Albert was like the exception. Now he's the rule of school. And it's all sugar.
And Tia, you're right. I used to love me a banana, but I don't eat them. And my daughter tell y'all, she's like, "It's something wrong with you," because I'm like, "How much sugar does it have?" "Oh, that has sugar." "Oh, I know. I can't eat that. It has sugar." And she's like, "You're a killjoy." But I'm like, if you understood what sugar does to your body, like Walter said, it does age you. Eating a lot of sugar and stuff like that, it really does age you. And I'm not terribly concerned about the aging, but I am a little bit, but not only that, um, uh, the cancer that can be caused from eating sugar. Sugar is just not good for you at all. So what we're supposed to have, like 24 to 25 grams at the most?
At the most of sugar. Like for instance, a banana, a mango, and some of those fruits are really high, but like a loaf, like 2 pieces of bread, if you look at the sugar content on bread, or like if you go to my fridge or my cabinet, it's almost empty. It's just all like, stuff that's like no sugar. Sugar is in everything. Like oh my God. I don't know if I was talking to you. Somebody brought in a thing said healthy fruit juice. It had like 30 grams of sugar per serving. Your whole daily intake of sugar was in a glass of this healthy fruit juice.
Oh yeah. I don't drink juice at all. I don't drink it because of the sugar. Fruit juice. Now that's a lot of fruits I don't even eat. I'll eat a half an apple a day for the fiber, because and it's a small apple. Even apples have a lot of sugar. It's natural sugar, but it still adds up. And I'm like you, Walter. I exercise at home. I do 1 Zumba class a week, and I sweat a lot. But I do weights and stuff because at our age we're supposed to be doing more weight resistance anyway. Of course,
especially women, not to be all like, not those women, but like women need to be on the weights. That's real talk. Because the sad part about, and those of you that have lost weight, when you gain the weight back, Because when you lose weight, you lose muscle and fat. When you gain weight, you gain fat. You don't gain muscle. And so you need to, and like I'll work out for 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes at a time. I'll do a bunch of push-ups. I'll lift some heavy weights, do some deadlifts, some pull-up, and that's it. 5 minutes. It's a wrap. And I do the rest with diet. And you don't have to counting calories is dangerous because your body adjusts. Your body's not stupid. When you count calories, your body goes, okay, metabolism, slow down, versus just fasting. So what I'll do is I'll go, 18 hours without eating some days. But when I eat, I get down. Man, I must put down like 3,000 calories in a meal. I'll do, and I'm getting away from steak, but man, I'll do an avocado or two, olive oil. I mean, I'll drink half a cup of olive oil every single day. And that's 120 calories per tablespoon. So I'm going, I'm probably doing $1,000 a day. I mean, I'm doing 1,000 calories a day, just in olive oil. So not to mention, so I'm probably doing 2,500 to 3,000 calories every single day.
And you haven't gained any of the weight back that you lost.
None of it. Zero. Which is only because of the food, the way that I don't do preservatives, because when you put preservatives in your body can't process it. So your body shuts down. Inflammation, those preservatives and the sugars, inflammation is a good thing. Inflammation is designed to fight off illnesses, but if you create too much of it, it just gets tired. So fructose, all that stuff, honey, believe it or not, even honey has a dangerous sugar in it. Like a lot of people say, I'm honey, no honey, no gummies. The apple cider vinegar gummies are straight trash. They put honey in it.
Sugar, it's got a lot of sugar.
It's a trick to get people. I mean, listen, I'm not mad at Bragg's. They're trying to get money. They're in it for the cash. I guarantee you. If there was no more money in apple cider vinegar, they probably would stop making it.
I mean, you can eat bananas. Just be mindful of the. You gonna have one. That's all you're gonna have the sugar. If you're going with it, and that even takes you over what you're supposed to have per day. So just being mindful of that.
Eat a green banana. A green banana is extreme low in sugar and high in fiber. Don't eat the yellow banana. Yellow bananas aren't even real. The original bananas were small and they were green. They made them yellow to make them more sweet or appealing. Apples aren't like, you couldn't pay me to eat an apple. Just the science in apples, forget it. You couldn't pay me to do that. But you know what's really good is natural, organic, frozen blueberries and blackberries. Because when you pick fruit and they freeze it, the nutrient loss is the nutrients stay longer. So the nutrient loss is less because when you freeze it, everything stops. Versus a blueberry that sits in the refrigerator or on the counter is losing nutrients by the second. But when you buy frozen vegetables or fruits, the nutrients stop disintegrating. So I'll do a lot of frozen, organic, of course, fruits. Fruits, I'm talking about avocados, blueberries, and blackberries. Those are really the only. I don't do grapes. Grapes are a killer.
Do you know anything about homemade vinegar? And I see everybody now talking about they looking in their refrigerator and all of that. I mean, honestly, it's all about knowing. I say it all the time. I wish I took the time to really study about sugar before now. But I've become like so driven when it comes to it. I bought an outfit about a month or so ago. I ordered it and it fit, but it didn't fit. I was like, damn, I'm going to send it back. So my daughter was like, yeah, you can't fit that. And so a couple of weeks had went by. I was like, let me try it on one more time just to make sure. And do you know, lo and behold, that doggone outfit fit. And I'm not like working out like I used to when I lived in California. I do weights and stuff. Like I said, cardio one good time a week. But it's just really watching the sugar and stuff like that. And I could fit it now. And I wasn't even really doing nothing drastic.
Yeah, and strawberries are good for you too. Strawberries, the berries, the blueberries, blackberries, the strawberries, they have good fiber. They're lower. I choose blackberries, blueberries over strawberries because they're lower on the glycemic index. But strawberries are still If you can get them organic, um, it's better for you. And the other thing about organic vegetables, you guys, you understand that plants have a mechanism in them that fights off pests. So when the plant is unsprayed, it is developing a chemical that fights off these plants that are good for this chemical is good for human beings. But when you spray the pesticides on them, the bugs don't come around and the plants don't create this chemical that's good for your body. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can learn on just YouTube. And I don't know if you remember Cindy Duff. Me and her have been talking quite a bit. And I said to her and a bunch of people, I said, you know what? Being skinny tastes the best. And I love, and you call me, I don't know, do what you need to do. I tell everybody, I like being the thinnest one in the room. I love it. I like walking in the room and going, look at that. He fat, his stomach. I don't even know how they have sex. How can she reach it? I'd be going in on these foods. I said, those pork chops are good, but like, at what cost? And the funny part is, it's not an extreme diet. You go to YouTube and you follow Dr. Berg, William Lee, the Glucose Goddess. There's a bunch of people that are actually on YouTube telling you how to eat. It's all there. Though I don't do honey either. It's got I can't remember the sugar that's in honey.
It's a lot of agave. There's a lot of sugar content, if you will, honey. And I saw a lot of people talking about grapefruits. I love grapefruits too, but grapefruit is high up there in regards to sugar. So I don't do grapefruits either. If I do, it'll be like a half of one or a half of a half. But grapefruits, you'll be surprised how much sugar it has as well. So
Let me give you a tip. Monk fruit. Monk
mhm.
fruit does not spike your blood sugar. So I'll give you an idea. When you sleep, your body's burning fat. When you wake up and don't eat, your body's burning fat. The minute you break your fast, you stop burning fat. So you know how most people break their fast in the morning? With coffee, with cream and sugar. So what you do instead is if you're going to drink coffee, use a monk fruit and a tiny bit of coconut milk. This much coconut milk has like 5 calories. And monk fruit does not raise your blood sugar. So if you must do coffee, do a monk fruit and do a tiny bit of coconut milk so you don't break your fast. So, Dr. Hyman is the truth too. So you can do that. Do not break your fast because I don't care. Dieting, you wake up and have cream in your coffee or sugar, you are breaking your fast. You might as well have a hot dog because breaking the fast is breaking the fast. And yeah, it's funny. Breakfast is not a morning meal. It's just break the fast. It does taste like stevia. I've done the research on monk fruits. And it's funny, I didn't hear a lot about it. I just heard some of the real YouTubers talking about monk fruit. And I was
Yeah, you monk fruit that's recommended if you're gonna sweeten something, or they call it alcohol sugar, or sugar alcohol is what it's called. So it's not actually sugar. It's like from stevia monk fruit. Somebody said, does it taste? Yeah, it don't taste like sugar. It's not
still
bad.
sweet though.
Yeah, it's sweet, but I'm saying it's not bad. It just don't taste like the regular sugar. But if you're looking for something to be sweetened, yeah, it's a good alternative. But for me, I'm just trying to get used to not craving the sweets, because if you learn about sugar, you learn they said sugar has the same effect on the brain as heroin. That's how addicting sugar is, and that's why a lot of people, when they say you have a sweet tooth, is actually more scientific than, oh, I'll just have a taste for something sweet. You're actually addicted to it.
Right.
So it's just about learning. When you, like I said, when I learned what sugar is actually doing to you, I'm like, oh, hell to the no. Not me.
So
So
stay away from sugar. What you can, I'm telling you, there's I just learned about turmeric milk, turmeric, a little bit of of the monk fruit. You can Google it. Little coconut milk. You can make like this turmeric milk. I did the research on it. Like the turmeric is a disease killer. Turmeric, garlic. If you're gonna do garlic, cut it up, let it sit for 15 minutes. So the chemical, I think it's allicin, kicks into effect. Don't cook the garlic. You can heat it up a little bit, but don't cook it and wait 15 minutes before you eat it. Those little tricks right there
mhm.
will allow your body to heal itself, and then I'm telling you, you're not gaining weight. And I can tell you because I know I struggle with weight. Um, it's funny. I've had clothes. I just keep my Professor Clump clothes, but man, I use them as inspiration.
How much did you lose? And Tanya, you say, can I have my oat milk? You know what?
No
Even
oat,
that has sugar.
yeah, no oat milk, no almond milk. That's trash. Oat milk and almond milk is carbs to the sky. If you're gonna do a milk, do a coconut milk. Right now I'm practicing making pistachio milk. Like I don't do cashews. Cashews aren't good for you, but pistachios are good for you. You can make pistachio cheese. I learned how to do that yesterday. Pistachio milk, and you can do all this stuff in a blender
Yep.
yourself. It's amazing how you can get off cheese and milk by using some pistachios. It's mind blowing to me. And all the stuff's been out there.
And I was gonna say that apple juice, yeah. You
Oh,
look at and listen, and you
ooh,
think about. I got this candle here. It ain't lit.
oh, then don't put it up.
Okay, this candle is. Let's see. I don't know how many. 15 ounces. Okay, 15 ounces. So about half of this is what you're supposed to have in juice, right? 8 ounces. Now, how many people actually have 8 ounces of juice? Not many. And even in that 8 ounces of juice, you could see anywhere for like 30 grams of sugar in just 8 ounces of apple juice. So when it's like my dad always says, it's all about knowing. When you know and you really learn about what we're putting in your body, then you're like, yeah, apple juice tastes good. But damn, it's gonna cost me on the sugar because you're not gonna have it. Listen, most people have some apple juice when? For breakfast. What do you have for breakfast? You're gonna have pancakes. There's sugar in the pancakes before you even put syrup on it. Most people ain't eating no pancakes without no syrup. Then, all the other stuff you have. And then if you really count all the sugar you've had, you could probably have upwards of 100 grams of sugar in one sitting. And that's just in the morning. So imagine this, all the stuff you're going to eat throughout the day. You might have some candy. You might have some ice cream. You might have another soda or something. So you're having all that sugar. You squeeze a good amount of ketchup on your fries. That's sugar. And most of the time when they measure sugar, it's like a teaspoon. And I don't even know if you're supposed to have that a day, right? So you have to get good at seeing and reading labels and seeing what you're actually ingesting, because that's part of the problem.
Don't juice things. Don't juice. If you're gonna juice, like right now, I'm doing a lemon and garlic juice. 3 lemons, 3 cloves of garlic, and I put them in a blender, and I'll drink that throughout the day. Man, you want to talk about killing disease? But do not drink fruit juices, because with fruit, the fiber in the fruit offsets the sugar. For every gram of fiber, if I'm correct, you erase a gram of sugar. But when you juice the apple, all you're doing is getting the sugar, no fiber. Fiber offsets sugar. Fiber, think about this. What fiber does, and this is why the glucose it works so good to eat fiber first, because when you eat fiber, it creates a net through your blood vessels and in your system. So when it creates a net, so when the proteins and the oils and the sugars come through, the fiber has created a mesh, and what they do is they slide through. That's why they have you take fiber. They take Metamucil and all that crap, which is a total scam. If you ate an avocado and a cup of blackberries when you broke your fast, first of all, that's 20 grams of fiber, which is 2/3 of what you need for the day. Do that every day and drink whatever water you need to drink, and watch how regular you become. That's it. All that other stuff, it's a scam.
And you can do oatmeal, but most people gonna put some sugar, some brown sugar, some milk.
Oatmeal is crap too. Think about it, guys. Oatmeal is not natural. It's refined. Like if you're not gonna eat oat, don't do oatmeal. And there's no oats in that oatmeal. It's all refined. If you saw how they made oatmeal, it would blow you away. Think about this. What chemical do they have to put on it to even make it starchy like that? Think about it for a second. Like oatmeal starchy. Like I know people that eat oatmeal they big as a duplex tube. Cut the
Did you
oat.
say a duplex food?
I mean, cut the oatmeal. I'm telling you guys, get with Dr. Berg and William Lee and some of these guys. If it doesn't, and Steve Harvey, actually, one of the good things that he said, he goes, the way he lost weight is he hired a nutritionist, and he goes, if it has more than one ingredient, don't eat it. Fish is one ingredient. An avocado is one ingredient. You understand what I'm saying? Like turmeric, garlic, one ingredient. Zucchini or broccoli. And don't do broccoli. Do broccoli sprouts, because once the broccoli grows, it loses a lot of its nutrients. And it's gonna sound weird, but I'm gonna say this just to get my point across. And I don't have any proof of this. When is something healthier? When it's young or when it's older?
It's younger.
Younger. So broccoli sprouts, I can't remember, but the nutrition is staggering. I mean, it is like 50 or 100 times more powerful, the sprout, than the actual broccoli. And think about it. Like, remember when they talked about the celebrities drinking baby's blood? They did it because they were younger and healthier. Hello?
Are you wait, hold on, I'll mute you. Uh oh, are you on the phone? I muted you. Okay, yeah. And Tony says, I'm done drinking apple juice. What's a good replacement for a former alcoholic? Been sober for almost 13 years. So are you drinking the apple juice in lieu of the alcohol? Is that what that is?
Yeah, sparkling water is better for you. Sparkling water with lemon is off the hook. No protein powders. If it ain't from the ground, don't do it. You guys think about this. How many people do you know who do you know that's ever had a protein deficiency? Who's ever been to the doctor for a protein deficiency?
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. Protein deficiency is not all that it's, what people say that it is.
No, you don't need the strongest animals in the world don't eat meat. They eat plants. A gorilla doesn't eat steak. Think about,
Sugar. Oh, I'm
yeah,
telling him the carrot juice.
yeah, carrot, no carrot juice. You guys, you can Google before you eat a food. Just Google the sugar content.
Oh.
That's it. Carrots. I was drinking carrots, and my personal trainer was like, Walter, are you trying to get fat? And I was like, damn. What do you mean? He goes, it's all sugar. Taste the carrot juice. Like, he goes, taste it. It's sweet. What do you think? That's sugar. So,
and you think about this too, because I see a lot of people talking about honey and stuff. See, back in those days, the ancient times and stuff, they didn't have all the processed foods and things like that then, so they could get away with eating that kind of stuff that was, more from the ground. They didn't have Taco Bell, McDonald's, and a lot of the processed foods back then, so they have more natural stuff. But you talk about the sugar in addition to all the other stuff. Yeah, it's just, especially here in the West, food is horrible. If you've ever traveled outside of this country and you eat the other countries' food, you notice the difference right away. So it's just a lot of nonsense in the food over here. But anyway, Walt, go ahead.
You could I was answering Tracy's question.
Sure. Which one was that?
About what foods to eat, the meal plan.
Oh,
What
gotcha.
you do is no cornbread. Stop it. What? So I can tell you what I eat. When I wake up in the morning, well, first of all, I don't eat in the morning, but when I do eat, well, first of all, I wake up and I drink a lemon and garlic juice, 3 lemons, 3 garlic cloves, and I grind them up in a blender, and I will drink that throughout the day because the lemon and the garlic will not break my fast, which is huge. And I strain it through a milk net, and I strain it. So, but when I do eat, like today, I had some mushrooms. I took some mushrooms from, some organic mushrooms, and I cooked in olive oil. I don't cook in olive oil because you don't want to heat it up too much. I put it in avocado oil, mushrooms, and I sprinkled the pink Himalayan salt, which you can eat quite a bit of that. And I sprinkled turmeric, and then I put pepper on it because turmeric is a disease fighter, but the pepper mixed with turmeric actually makes the turmeric stay because the liver flushes turmeric out right away. That's why they put pepper in turmeric to make the turmeric stay. So I did that today. And then I had some broccoli. And then that was pretty much it. I ate that.
Are you
And
vegan?
no. I mean, I'm moving off of the red meats. I just, from everything that I'm seeing, it just, the plant based, and I mean plant based, not vegan, because vegans, they eat fried foods, and some of the fattest people I know are vegans. So obviously that ain't working. So um, I it's plant, like when I did the mushroom today, and then just now when I, because when I do this show, I'm like, this is the time I'm gonna have a cigar and drink wine. This is like, I'm gonna get into the entertainment spirit. This is me at the movies, so I eat crap. But I ate the avocado, and I did the vinegar shot before I sat down. I ate the other half is still here. Um, so now that I've got the fiber in me, and then it's like, okay, I'm gonna eat some of this cheese, but that is the fat that's following the fiber. And so after that, then I was like, I'm gonna drink some wine. I'm gonna do that after I've coated my system with fiber. And so you can do, like broccoli sprouts are dynamic. You can put that, blueberries, blackberries. Um, if you're gonna do cheese, you could do it, but cheese offsets the chemical fighting agent in broccoli. It offsets each other. So if you're gonna do cheese, don't eat. If you're gonna do broccoli sprouts, eat them alone by themselves. Give them a chance to get to your system, and then you could follow it with
This
something.
last question, and you know what? It sounds like we're gonna have to come back for a more of a food show. I should also say too that neither one of us are experts. We're just telling y'all what we do. As I always tell y'all, I'm always a work in progress. Always, working on it. Trying to just. Me personally, I don't have any grandchildren. I got nieces and nephews, great nieces and nephews. But my goal has always been to be able to run, jump, and play with the little grandbabies and the great nieces and nephews, not be one of those old great aunties or grandma, that's like, I sure wish I could. But, nah, I'm gonna be. They gonna be having to keep up with grandma. My nephew, he's 14, superstar basketball player. One day, last time I was there, I was going up this mountain. It's called Mount Rubidoux, and we're climbing it. And he's running up there, and he's stopping, and he's running, and I'm walking at a steady pace. My daughter and my two nieces are behind us. They're talking, and so my nephew would stop, and I would catch up to him. He'd look back, and then he'd run, and then he stopped, and then I catch up to him. And he was like, dang, Tia, you're like one of those old ladies that walk really fast. Every time I thought I was leaving you, you're right behind me. I'm like, don't let the age fool you. I'm gonna always be right behind you. So that's my goal, is to be able to just keep moving, never grow old to the point to where I can't move around anymore. So I'm always trying to find ways of improving on life. And I don't want to be, wheeled up out of here when it's time to go. It's gonna, if when I leave out of here, it's gonna be because I got hit by a bus or something, running in the middle of the street or something. So I don't know. But Walter, and then Miss B says, I have a question. When you eat foods that have sugar, a lot of sugar, do you become more constipated? I'm asking for a friend.
I don't know. I don't struggle with constipation, because fiber is the anti-constipation. Fiber and water. Because fiber is roughage. It just goes through your system and starts like, hey, get out of here. You got to move. That's um, that's what fiber is.
Yeah.
So just try it. Follow. You can Google the glucose goddess. There's a lot of people on. I mean, a lot of people starting to talk about this. Just get on YouTube. I'm telling you guys, you'll feel better. Um, and you don't, like, I'm telling you, the oatmeal and the carrot juice kill that stuff. If you guys just Google the glycemic index, and then look at some of the ingredients. When you look at the thing of oatmeal, what is in it? Does it say oats, or does it say oats and this and that and saccharins and glycerides and all that crap? Is not, that stuff is not good for you, and you don't know. And you just, all the people that are eating oatmeals and eating all these supposedly healthy foods, what do they look like still? I got to, and I'll close with this, and I'll say it to the day I die. The fattest people, the most unhealthiest people, are on the treadmills. This gym I used to go to, they had a glass facing the treadmills, and all the booties was right there, and all you saw was jiggle, 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 jiggle. I was like, y'all get it, y'all. It's, and I felt like saying to them, it's not helping. It's what you're eating.
So you just gonna go in there and tell them, I'm sorry to inform you, but
It's not working. It's diet and exercise. Diet is the wife, exercise is the chick on the side. And you don't need exercise if you are mobile and you get around and you move and you're just active throughout the day. You don't need to be in the gym all damn day. What you need to do is just control your diet. Just try it.
yeah, I do a lot of weightlifting now. And I noticed the difference in my body. I was more one that was more cardio, but now I'm doing weights. I want to well, I actually got some heavier sets now. I'm just working up to it. Granola, sugar.
Zero granola. Do not do. All you have to do is look. When I go to the store, flip it over and read it. Granola, it will have all these sugars and it'll have 20 ingredients in it. Those are man-made chemicals that are killing you. Grits, stop it.
It's corn.
Kill the grits. You couldn't pay me to eat corn. I don't care if it's organic or not. Corn is one of the worst things you could put in your system. Think about this. They use corn to make sugar. That ought to tell you right there. Corn tortillas, cornmeal. Oh, Lord have mercy. Do not eat corn. You watch YouTube, none of them talk about eating corn. And it's Monsanto's, it's the drug of choice. It's where they can get the chemicals in, they feed that crap to the chicken. Oh, yeah.
Tracy said, Walter, just give us the plan, man. So, Walter, one day we'll have to come back with a show. I know it won't be a lot of people watching, but that's okay. The people that's interested, we'll talk about it. Of course, again, I just like to say we are not, dietitians or anything like that. But you look at Walter, he's 54 years old, and a lot of people are just like, no way, man. There's no way. I remember one time my niece answered the door, and it was a salesperson, my niece being Walter's daughter. And the salesperson, Walter walked by, and he says to her, "Is that your husband?" And she said, "What? Oh my God!" Now my niece is 31. Okay, so Walter's eldest daughter is 31.
Ooh, she's up there. Sure enough.
So yeah, Walter's 54.
So we'll get to it. If you're gonna do sodium, get it from the a lot of foods will have sodium in them, and sodium is, you go to the grocery store and you turn stuff over, it's heavy in sodium. And do the pink Himalayan sea salt. That stuff, get your sodium from there if you must. And I don't know anyone with a sodium deficiency. It's like protein. How many people go to the doctor and go, "Oh Lord, my doctor said they had low sodium"?
Well, you know what though? The book that I'm reading, it's possible that people do, and it's not good for you. And we can get into that as well, because they actually said in regards to like high blood pressure stuff like that, it's not actually. And I'm just telling you what I read. It's not actually salt. Is not actually the issue. It's actually sugar, the other white substance. So anyway, we could be here all day. And Tracy says, "I'm 57, Walter. My goal is just 140." I know that's right.
Start. Get you a book. It's called The Slight Edge. You can Amazon. You can get it on Audible. I'm telling you, when I stopped, like took away my weight goal and just said I'm gonna do my habit and I'm gonna do the right thing every day, I just started losing weight. And I tell you, man, my goal was 175, and I just stopped tracking it and just started doing the right thing. I hopped on the scale. I was 154. I had to actually gain.
Oh yeah, that's a little bit too little for you.
I had to gain 10, 15 pounds. My friend was like, "What? Are you dying? Is everything okay? What's wrong with you, Flavor?" And I was like, but I like being 154. But I do realize when I see myself in pictures,
how often are you exercising?
Well, I move every day. I run. I'm always running around, moving.
And that's what they say, the blue zone. You guys studied about the blue zone people. They say they don't really exercise intentionally. They just move around, all day. They're not sedentary. They're moving around, whether they're gardening, walking, they're intentional in their everyday movement, opposed to just, okay, I worked out for an hour a day. Now I'm going to sit down and watch TV. So.
Yeah, get you some weights. I have a barbell with some weights on it in the belt, and I do deadlifts, like when I'm watching TV. And you can do that. Deadlifts work your whole body, your arms, your stomach, your legs, your booty, glutes. It works all things, those deadlifts. And you just sit there. I mean, I ain't gonna do it because it would look crazy. But you do those deadlifts. Do 15, 20 of those. You can get that stuff all from Amazon. Do 15, 20 deadlifts a day that you have to struggle to pick up. Do 15 to 20 of those a day and just do it for 6 months. And your stomach, whew, I like seeing my feet. I like taking off my shirt in the crowded room and just being like, yep. You know what I'm saying? I used to be a big boy. I had one body was like, oh, poke my stomach. And I was like, never again. Chicken tastes that good to have some chick poking my stomach.
Yeah, imagine having somebody say, how many months are you?
Ooh, I almost did that to a lady the other day. And I was like, oh, catch myself.
Yeah, because you was about to get beat down. Anyway, we love and appreciate every last one of y'all. We're going to get out of here. We'll see y'all on Sunday. Donovan might be on here. He's going to the DR, you know, so he might be on here. If not, it'll just be me. In the meantime, I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Thank y'all for sitting here with us and everything that you guys do, whether you like, subscribe, you donate, and everything. We could not do the show without you. So in the meantime, we'll see y'all on Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Time. Peace.